Hello, they are just yattering around in my ears and I'm not turning them on. I'm not turning them on at all for something. Yes, I don't know why you're saying it, because you're not turned on, so nobody can hear you. Right, you're on now. Oh no, you're still not on. Let me get the right channel. You're on now. What are you going to type? Yes. Hello and welcome to this exciting adventure. I always say exciting and then I disappoint you all. So I'm going up above me, just here, I'm going to put some new adjectives to this enthralling, this fascinating, this spectacular delve into the unknown world. Well, if you were hoping to come and watch a fantastic Shadowrun adventure, then you have come to the wrong place. You need to go somewhere else because it might not happen. But if you're here to watch us play Shadowrun, then welcome. And welcome back to the runners, back to the year 2076. Where, as you know by now, because I do the same intro every week, magic is possibly stronger than steel, where spirits walk on the astral plane to be confronted or controlled, where the childhood dream of driving a car goes one step further, as you are the car, and when working out is no comparison to metalling out. And where the internet has been replaced by the world of the Matrix, which filters into our very existence, and only Deckers and Technomancers completely control. Welcome back to the world of Shadowrun, where we have none of those characters with us. We've just managed to sort of like club together some wayward strays from the street. That's okay.
I would like to apologise in advance.
Yeah. And we've got some people together that are pretending or masquerading as various people, and we'll let them introduce themselves, and we'll go straight down, just down there, who's got a glass on top of his head for some unknown reason. It's Master Chuggerwugger.
Who's got a glass on top of their head?
You have.
Oh yeah, you got the big glass.
The big glass is on top.
Oh, right, on the stream.
Yeah.
I meant then I was going to say, what have I done? Hi guys, I'm Chuggerwugger. I play a character called Stanley Lovely.
Lovely.
He goes by the name of Studley on the streets.
Can I just say that's a very funny name to go by, Studley on the streets.
I know. But people just call him Studley.
Is it hyphenated? Studley
yes.
dash on dash the dash street dash. Okay.
On the street, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
He's middle-aged, slightly balding, very somewhat overweight. Has to constantly pull up his trousers to stop them falling down if he does anything. And anything. What's the word I'm looking for? Strenuous, yes. He also wears small round rimmed glasses. What does he do for the party? Well, he is the mage, so he provides magical support and combat spells when needed. And I shall pass on to Big Beastie.
Hello, I am Big Beastie, and I am playing Billy Bob, the good-looking, ready for action tank of the group. He's an orc. He's also ex-military, and he is covered in what's that stuff? I can't remember what the stuff's called.
Blue tack.
Blue
Seaman.
tack.
That's a children.
Yeah.
I'll just make sure that my mature content is on.
I
Then, I think it might be a bannable offence.
We've got
Army, not Navy.
In the Navy, you'll sail the seven seas.
I think you might be referring to dermal plating.
That's the
Oh,
stuff.
right.
All over.
Excellent.
As well as as well as sailors.
Yeah. Pass it on, Big.
Yeah, sorry. I
Please
will
pass it on.
to Mr. Medivac.
I'm having to take my hoodie off now. Again.
Thank you. Do you know, I was thinking about Chugga-Wugga's character, and I'm like thinking, is that based on me?
Yes.
Yeah, well, before you joined, it was actually called your name. But you had to change.
Pull me pants up. Hi everybody, I'm Medivac, and I play Lachlan Smith, or Locksmith. He's a wee cheeky chappy Irish person. It'll take me a while to get the accent again, but yes. And he is the group's decker, who had a nasty shock. Alleged decker. Let's not be libelous. Yeah. Who had a nasty shock a few weeks ago and blew up his deck by not checking for data bombs. So he's a young chap who's just left Qubit 64, lots to learn, but thinks he knows everything. But we shall see. And I will pass it on to Longshanks EPG. That rhymed, did you notice?
Mm.
Yes, yeah.
You're a poet and you didn't know it.
I did.
Hi guys, I'm Longshanks CPG. Tonight I'm playing the new chap to the team, a guy called Tornado. He is the team's new rigger, so he does all the drive-in. He's got a whole lot of drones that he can play with, and he can sort of like jump into like put his consciousness inside the drone, so then he becomes the drone and flies around. And you can also remote control them on his RCC, which I thought was quite small, and it turns out it's the size of a small briefcase, but never mind. And other stuff like that. So he's more of the support guy, but he can also he can also just about use a pistol if called upon. But he'd prefer to get out one of his fancy drones and have that shooting off a whole load of machine gun rounds through the place. And I shall pass on to the one, the only, our glorious
Mr. Pickles!
Sorry, wrong game.
Oh.
Yeah, and thank you to Longshanks EPG for starting off this month's bit target. Well on the way now. So feel free to spend your bits.
Amazon do another deal.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping.
I'm running out.
Yeah,
I'm pacing my bits.
In the deck.
Say again, sorry?
What does the other C stand for in the rigger deck?
Rigger control?
Console.
Yeah, it's an LCC.
Right.
I thought it was quite small. I thought it was like the size of a tablet, but it's not. It's like the size of a brick.
Yeah, Medivac. Thank you for the bits, Medivac. You are now in the gold medal position. You take the gold. Size of a briefcase. And riggers are called riggers because they have what's known as a control rig embedded in their skull. I must say, Medivac, I was listening to the Arcology podcast this morning, the actual play, walking into work and walking back from work. And it was interesting because their decker, did a roll and a hack on the fly and got 15 successes.
Yeah, but he's like a full proper decker, isn't he? He went to Boeing Systems earlier on.
15.
Yeah.
15.
I know.
15.
And he's not rolling on roll 20, he's doing it on his desk.
Well, actually, I think they use they're rolling on Heroes Labs. Actually, I think they use Hero Labs.
Are these the proper one?
Yeah,
right,
they use.
It's nice. It's like 6 successes.
They don't use Fancy Grounds. They use Hero Labs, which actually has a dice roller in, which is really good if you ever want to. I have Hero Labs that I set up my Shadowrun characters on when I'm playing them, and it's really good. It allows you to click off what's it does all your decks for you. It does all your whether or not things are wireless or not wireless by a click of a button and everything like that. It's really good. It has all the programs in there, so rather than having to write them out, you just click which program you want, and then which ones are in and which ones are not. It's quite ingenious, actually.
That is good.
Keep talking, then we won't have to do the adventure.
No.
Yeah.
I was just catching up with just things that I've been listening
Ask
to.
another question.
The other nice thing,
Quick,
it's worth watching, listening to Studley, because they get attacked. They're in a submarine, little submarine. They get attacked by a shark, and their mage summons up a 4/6 air elemental to deal with it.
Oh, only plus.
Well, it might.
It's
either
summed up like a kraken or something.
I think it's a 6. Thank you for the bits, Chugga-Wugga.
I'll have to see what episode that is, because I'm quite early on, because I'm going through the whole thing, and it's I'm like I said, I just do the bowing at the moment, but I'm just going through the
You're not up to the. You're really early on then. You're not up.
Yeah.
Because I'm up
That's
I
to.
just finished that book that you recommended.
Peter and Jane.
No, Reality Zero.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought it ended a bit suddenly.
Yeah, but remember, there's lots of other books.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
And now I'm reading The Girl with All the Gifts.
Anyway,
And that's going to take us to our 10-minute break.
Yeah.
Second time.
Okay.
yeah.
Let me give you a brief synopsis of what's happened, the story so far. So the party, the set of runners living in hot metro in Southside, where the temperature was rising quite rapidly, was getting to the point that the air conditioning units were about to fall to bits. Well, luckily, they got a call from Cookie, their fixer, who actually put them in touch with somebody called Lambda 3, and they went off to this guy, and they actually had to do a bit of, they had to go into sort of like a game console, and Studley became a transformer, and Locke became a frog, and Billy Bob became somebody out of Mad Max, and Tornado became a whirlwind, and there was a wonderful picture. I remember the picture. I thought it was one of the best pictures I've ever found.
Best random picture in the world.
I just couldn't believe that you actually appeared both on the same picture. There you go. Anyway, you basically you decided that you were going to take the job, and the job is to escort and make sure they have a good time. The twins that belong to the owner of a corporation that has the last vote in order to keep the gaming convention in the same place. And if you remember, there's a couple of rival companies going against each other, and they're sort of like GameCon, who's the original ones, and then there's something called, do you remember what the other one was called?
Darkest Shadow Con.
Yeah, Darkest Shadow Con. Well done. Yeah, and you have set off. You left Louis Gilbertson, and you went off to meet the Dreyfus families, and you're staying in the Madison Hotel, and you're all in one room. And even though Studley tried to get another room, he was unsuccessful, and in the end you had to meet with the Johnson, with Mr. J and his twins, in a local restaurant that was actually called DB's Asian Bar and Grill. And it's quite a nice place. Its biggest draw, if you remember, is the Mongolian Grill. And so you headed off there, and you had some reservations, if you remember, and you went in, and Tornado sent up one of his fireflies up in amongst the interlocking drones that are sort of like selling stuff to provide some kind of surveillance. Studley was in there as well. Did everybody go in at the end? I can't remember.
No.
I think everyone.
No, I stayed at the hotel.
Oh yes, Locke's at the hotel for some other reason.
Because the idea was that we didn't want everybody going apparently, and somebody should stay behind.
Yeah.
As a surprise.
So you went in, and just as you arrived, you were introduced to the Mr. Johnson, who, if you remember, was looking very smart in his horn-rimmed smart spectacles, a grey suit and a tie that looks like someone from the salad bowl threw up on it. And he smiled at you and starts speaking in a rather high-pitched, nasally voice he had. And he said, "Hoi hoi there, chummers! Hope everything is 5 by 5 with you, and that you didn't get any static getting down here. I'm sure Mr. Johnson has given you all the scan you'll need, so I won't bore you with the details. Please sit down and we'll order some drinks and talk some biz." And then as you sat down, he turned round to introduce his twins, and he introduced you to somebody called Aaron, which was one of the twins, and then suddenly noticed that his other twin, his daughter, was missing.
And we'll leave it there this week.
And at that point, I will pass over to you guys, and you can decide what you would like to do.
Billy Bob's gonna turn around and said, "When were they lost?"
She was just here. Aaron, have you seen your sister? And this guy, Aaron, he's sort of like a typical sort of like teenager. He seems to be playing with a Fairlight Caliban comlink. And he just seems to be like this. And when you sort of like say, "Have you seen your sister?" he sort of like looks up, and he looks somewhat concerned, and then he sort of like says, "No."
Dudley say, maybe did she excuse herself to go to the bathroom?
Well, yeah, I suppose she could have done.
Well, when you're ordering things, I will just go and have a look.
Well, do you think I should call the law enforcers? I think it might be a good idea. I've got a comlink here somewhere. Maybe I should call the law enforcers. This is quite unusual.
No. Do you have? I take it Erin has a comlink.
Yeah. I'm not too sure if she does or not.
Perhaps you could try ringing that.
Well,
whilst I go and check. If you will excuse me for just 2 minutes.
Yes, yeah, what would you like to do, Studley?
So Studley's going to stand up and he's going to look around to see whether or not he can see he probably see the arrow or something marking the entrance to the toilets.
Yeah, if you're looking through your comlink AR, yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to make his way that way.
Yeah.
To
It's quite an open restaurant, this, in the sense that it's one of those unisex toilets.
Oh, that's okay then.
Yeah, so, and it's quite interesting, actually, because you go in and then it splits off into two sides. And even though it claims to be unisex, you go down two sort of like sideways. And there's a big panel down the middle with the hand basins on. And then right down at the end, on both sides, you can see rather larger cubicles. For people of a troll nature, because they require a little bit more substantial support on the porcelain to sort of like sit down on it. Yeah, what would you like to do?
Okay, so he's going to go through, and he's going to, once he's at the junction where it switches between males one way, females the other, he is going to head towards the towards the female side, and he's going to stop just in it, and he's going to say, "Evan, are you there?"
All of a sudden, this woman comes out of the cubicle and looks at you and says, "Oh, go away, you old pervert! Peeping down here! Could somebody call security? There's a pervert in our toilets!"
I am actually security. We're looking for a missing person.
You, security! You look like my dad!
Yes, well, I'm actually undercover.
I'm going to get security, and then you could decide. You could tell him that you're security or not. And you notice that there's a group of other women sort of like coming out now, and there's a couple of old women saying, "I don't know, it never was like this when we were younger, wasn't it? It wasn't like this at all. Men didn't come into the ladies' toilets then at all."
As this is going on, Billy Bob's going to ask him, what time did you arrive?
There seems to be some kind of commotion going over from the toilets over there. We've only been here, what, Aaron? How long have we been here? 20 minutes?
Can I turn my AR on and give an order to my drone to have a look around the restaurant to see if it can see it?
Yeah. So, are you using your perception or your drone's perception?
I'll try using the drone's perception to start off with.
Okay, so therefore it'll be walking. Now, remember, I've changed your character sheet because you can only have X amount of auto softs in. You can only have a number of auto softs working equal to half your pilot rating or device rating rounded down. So one. So what you'll need to do, I've written them all out on your character sheet, so you'll need to put an X which one is actually doing. And you're right, it takes a complex action then to swap that over. So we'll presume because you're going in on pilot mode, on surveillance mode, that will be clear sight will be the one that's actually in. So so if the drone is making the perception roll, then it'll be its pilot. Plus its clear sight, and it'll be limited by the sensors.
Cool. So I just I'm just going to try hitting the clear sight test button, perception test button for it. It should be set up, I think. I think that's right.
No, that's
no.
That's rolled yours, I think.
Okay, try again.
Billy Bob's going to go to the...
Yeah, that's better, yeah.
Is there like a maitre d' of some sort?
Yes, there is. If you remember that there was somebody, a woman when you walked in.
That's right. Yeah. So Billy Bob's gonna go up to her and ask her, "Have you seen a young girl leave in the last 20 minutes?"
Yeah, hang on. She'll just reply to you in 1 second, Billy Bob. What's the fly spy looking for?
So the fly spy is looking for sort of like a young girl floating around, a teenage girl floating around on her own in the main floor of the restaurant.
Right.
Can you not get on the table?
It's a drone. I want to try using my drone. Okay.
It's whether or not that's going to. It's looking for a young girl. Okay then. So it starts to sort of like whiz around in random motions, and it keeps flashing back to you, sort of like just click. It's because it's got a variety of sensors, sort of like clicking girls' faces to you one after another as it flies around and sort of like picks them up from various places. It's just sort of like in your AR, it's going zoom, 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 zoom,
I'll
zoom, zoom.
I'll also ask for a rough description of her as well, so I can say. So I'll say, what does she look like, so we can.
Well, she's young and she's a twin like Aaron. Billy Bob, what were you saying to the?
Billy Bob asked her, was there any young girls or so any young girls left the restaurant on their own, or
Yeah,
within the last 20 minutes.
yeah. Make a perception roll for me. Chugga, I'm sorry, Studley. What are you doing in the bathroom?
He's waiting to see whether or not the commotion brings anybody else out of the cubicles or anything.
Oh yeah,
Hoping-
there's quite a commotion going off, and people are coming out, sort of like look at you as you sort of like hump your trousers up round your stomach, and there's general chit chat, and a guy sort of like comes up to you and says, "Mate, I don't think you should be over that side."
This is wrong. We got drones snapping pictures of young girls. We got another.
I know.
It's terrible, isn't it?
The fly spicers come back with 35 pictures of young girls that has come to Tornado. Billy Bob, the girl sort of, the maitre d' sort of like says, "Sorry, are you with the Dreyfus family? The Dreyfus party?"
Yes.
And I think the person you're looking for is just out there. And with your perception roll, you turn round and you see that what could only be called as a young woman in a cosplay outfit, looking like some kind of anthropomorphic cat. So like an anthropomorphic. So it's like a cat, but in the shape of a human.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
So not like on all fours going meow, like something off Big
Cat's
Brother.
on there.
Yeah, but it is anthropomorphic. Just means that it's human-like, in one for a different way. And she seems to be, so she's sort of like dressed up like a white cat. You know, and she's got the tail that's attached to a piece of wire, so it's hovering around. She's got her little ears on, and she seems to be engaging with a discussion with an orc who's wearing what appears to be some kind of hospital scrubs, and they're standing next to a silver 2065 Alero. Quite a nice car.
Billy Bob's going to shout, "Got her!" and he's going to head out the door.
Okay.
Studley, upon hearing this, is going to go, "Wait, this isn't the gentleman's side, is it?"
Performance roll, please.
Well, I was hoping before my con roll.
Okay,
the
then
first time
you could do a con then.
Security guard. What am I doing this time?
Con.
Performance.
You could do a con roll. I don't mind.
There's not much difference to be honest with you. I'll do my con roll.
Yes. Yeah. Carry on. Carry on.
Oh, these signs can be very confusing. I can't see why we can't just have separate latrines for both male and female. I do apologise.
What one of the old ladies go, "I totally agree with you, young man. This integration is not nice at all.
Yes.
I feel I'm feeling my private parts invaded."
Oh, yes.
Not by you, young man.
Yes. Well, I do apologise, and he'll turn around and start making his way out.
Yeah, so Billy Bob, you're sort of like walking across the street now, and you can see that there's this posh car, and Erin is sort of like lounged up against it. She seems to be having some kind of altercation, some kind of dispute with the orc. And as the orc sees you coming across the road, he sort of like pushes the boot down of the car and goes round and gets into the driver's side.
Tornado is going to use this opportunity to delete all the pictures that are on his AR because he doesn't need them now. Because
Too late. The police have already got them.
They're on their way.
Yeah, you can make a it's just like an edit file. It's a computer plus logic, and it's limited by a data processor.
Computer does magic. Oh, right, okay.
Please don't walk up to any girls and say, "Does this cloth smell of chloroform?"
That's not my style. No.
It should be in your I think I put everything into your matrix action thing. So it should
I've
be...
got matrix actions. I've got noise compensation and full matrix defense. That's
right. So yeah. So you need to edit files. So it'd be computer plus logic, and then your data processing as your.
Computer plus logic. So that I'll just do that this way. I'll just run logic. Oh, no, I can do skills. Hang on, let me find it.
Hello.
Two on two.
Yeah, so you start to sort of like delete the files, hoping to get them all before just in case you get stopped by law enforcers at any time. Okay, Billy Bob, what would you like to do?
Billy Bob is going to shout, "Aaron, your father wants you."
Yeah, and she sort of like looks round and sort of like looks at you as if to say, who the frig are you? You know, and she sort of like looks at you, and then she notices that you're quite hunky, and she sort of like goes like this, and you hear that she lets out a bit of a purr. I can't do that thing, but she goes purr.
No, do it.
And she sort of like.
Do you not have any of those cat's ears that you could put on when you?
No.
With her.
I'm not. Yeah,
Sorry, I can imagine it.
I'll just go down like this and come up with a different outfit.
I think you should.
Yeah, I'll make the effort.
No, it's time for the chef.
If it was Rolford, at least it would be painted blue or something.
Yeah.
Like Smurfs.
Yeah. Where are you all coming from? Okay, yeah, so she sort of like walks up down. She doesn't walk up to you, Billy Bob. She almost like walks past you. And so says, "Oh, Papa is always making a fuss about nothing." And she sort of like sleeks off, slinking as she goes, and
Is Studley outside as well?
You're just coming out of the toilet into the bar as you notice that Erin comes back into the room with Billy Bob sort of like keeping his eyes fixed very much forward. As he walks in, following Erin in, and Erin sort of like comes across and so sort of like slumps down onto the the couch, like the little cubicle, and crosses her legs and sort of like gets out what appears to be a comlink, and Eric Dreyfus sort of like turns around to you, Billy Bob, and says, "Oh, I am so pleased you managed to find him, Mr. Orc. So pleased. Erin, I wish you wouldn't go running off like that. It's most inconvenient. Please, gentlemen, come and sit down. Sit down. Let me introduce my children to you."
Is the vehicle still there?
No, it's driven off.
It's driven off, okay.
But don't worry, we've probably got under the surveillance and somebody will be running the plates.
It's this tornado going, "Oh, it's a little girl."
Picture of this little girl.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so he sort of like
Studley's going to sit down and he's going to go, "Oh, you won't believe it, but they've got shared toilets in this place."
Oh, it's very, very forward thinking in this place. Let me introduce you to my son and daughter. This is Aaron. He's into computer game, and he sort of like looks up and goes, "Sup," like that, and then just sort of like
Studley will go.
Hang on, I need to see this.
Shop.
It was disappointing.
Yeah, I thought he was going to at least do the thing.
And then he goes, yes, and this is my other my daughter who is Aaron's twin. This is Erin, and she goes, perfect to meet you guys.
Yes, very nice to meet you. Meet you too. You did give us a bit of a scare when we first got here. Had you gone out to meet your friend?
I was just, shall we say, interested.
Oh, yes.
That
Billy
was
Bob's
all.
going to turn around and ask her, what did they want?
Well, every year he's been there. Every year I see him. I wonder what's in his bags. I really do not know. Could be body parts, or even better, toys. As long as they're not made out of body parts, because that would be absolutely gross. Guess I'll have to wait till next year. Oh, hey, she turns to you, Billy Bob. Are you going to be my bodyguards?
Yes, I will be one of your guards.
Oh, well, it looks like we've got some con buddies. She says,
I don't really know what you mean by that.
she says, I'm rather hungry. Let's get some tofu. And she sort of like goes off to this self-serving area to pick up some noodles and tofu. Aaron's a
Studley's going to turn his attention to Eric Dreyfus, whilst because I suppose the other one, who do you call it? Aaron is back to playing his com.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
Completely.
and
Studley's going to say, yes. So, could you tell us a bit more about your plans for the next few days?
Oh yes, I'm going to be out and about, taking care of business in Metro, and but if you wish to get in touch with me, you have my comlink, and by all means get in touch with me if the need arises. Hopefully it won't be, because hopefully you will be looking after my charming twins here and showing them a really good time and making sure they enjoy themselves. Yes, you understand.
Yes. Is there anything that we should be aware of?
Yes. Erin doesn't like to say it, but she's rather tender to anything that has mango in it. And Aaron
That's
is,
understandable.
yes, I don't know. I think she got it from her mother, to be honest with you. And Aaron is just a fun-loving, good old guy.
Yes. Have they got any? I'm not too up on these conventions, but have they got any meetings to do, or?
Oh, I'm sure they'll give you a full itinerary later on. Basically, just let them do what they want to do and let them have a good time. Try to blend in and let them do what they want. They can be very strong-minded at times. So perhaps, just go with the flow, man. Yes?
Yes. I will certainly
Erin comes back and she's got a plate of what appears to be noodles and a bit of tofu stuck on it, a few spring vegetables, and she sort of like sits down. And as she sits down, Eric sort of like comes out of the booth and he says, "Right then, so I'll see you all later. Please have a wonderful time, twins. Please really enjoy yourself." And Aaron goes, "Your dad will do." And Erin said, "I'm sure it'd be perfect with these gentlemen here. Absolutely perfect."
Oh, we're starting, right?
And Eric's just sort of like says, "Right, I'll see you all later then." and he goes to sort of like high five.
Studley is sort of like held out his hand, but really sort of like limply.
And Eric is just sort of like trying to high five people.
I seen this in the gym today.
And you sort of like leave him hanging, and he just says, "All right then,
Puts his hand in
chummers.
his pocket.
All right then, chummers. I'll see you later. Have a good time, tweens." And Eric Dreyfus leaves the DB restaurant.
Oh,
Gonna go bad.
I wonder whether or not he has a tab.
I would hope so.
We have a tab, old man.
Oh,
Don't
well,
worry, you can order what you want. And she bends
right.
down, and as she talks to you, she goes like that, and a noodle goes.
Studley's going to have a look at the menu. He wants to find something that might be meat, but proper meat.
Yeah. There's the Mongolian style grill.
Oh, he'll
4 to 8 people.
that's about right for him.
That's about right.
Yeah.
He'll order that.
Yeah, maybe some cocktails as well. Just to get the party going.
No, he doesn't drink.
It's probably not a good idea to
Billy Bob, you drink, don't you?
Occasionally.
Yeah. And what about Tornado?
No, Tornado probably won't.
All these water drinking people. So Tornado and Studley, you sort of like
Not on the job.
you sort of like huddled together over a pitcher of water. Billy Bob, are you going for beer or are you going for some kind of cocktail? Do you think?
Billy Bob's gonna go for something light because obviously he's working now.
Right. Yeah. Or you could perceive it as they're working.
Yeah. I've done my bit.
Yeah, I was going to say you might have actually done the bit, already. So you might be able to sort of like put your feet up for a while. So there's some. Do you want beer?
Yeah, he'll have a beer.
Yeah. So there's some Bitburger beer if you want Bitburger.
Try that.
There's Gertie's Kraken. That's quite a powerful thing. Or there's the Arrogant Gargoyle.
No, he'll have the
Bitburger.
Yeah.
Bitburger. Yeah. Okay then. You can have some scotch if you want. There's some tea.
No,
There's some
no.
T-bird fuel.
What he had last time? And he was like,
And you can have some the synth or hall. So like the synthetic beer here is Aries 40 caliber.
yeah,
I
no,
think
he's
that was I think that was Hector that was drinking the anus.
Devil's anuses.
that was
Yeah.
You got sloshed off 2. You dropped 1 and then got and had 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going for the Pitburger. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay then. So how many would you like?
just the one.
Oh, you lightweight.
Yeah,
Lightweight.
that he's working and he's a bit concerned about the girl because she seems to like wander off a lot.
Okay. So yeah, so you sort of like settle down and you're having something to eat and you order the Mongolian grill and Aaron orders some kind of noodle soup sort of thing, and Erin is sort of like eating but sort of like looking at you a lot, Billy Bob.
Yeah, Billy Bob's just going to ignore it and he's going to look at Studley eating his Mongolian thing and is like,
Yeah, but Studley's still trying to saw into the first bit of meat. He's like,
He's actually Studley will actually try sawing into it, but eventually he'll pick it up and he'll just have grease
oh.
on the side of his face as he eats it, and then he'll make sure that he gets after
After each mouthful. Yeah,
Lovely.
So yeah, Tornado will be getting stuck into the Mongolian meat. Mongolian.
Are you
grill.
having one as well?
Yeah, he's not going without.
It's 4 to 8 people.
Don't forget a doggy bag.
You eat all that.
The rest of it's doing and putting in a doggy bag for later.
Studley can eat it all.
I was going to say,
Tornado
don't forget-
won't, but he's going to save the rest for later. So that's fine.
Waste.
And then share it with Locksmith.
Yeah, Locks are sort of like watching the camera feeds off over the comlink, just sort of like dribbling into.
Drooling.
Yeah,
I thought he
Look at
was
the
breaking
screen.
into their room to find out.
no, he
No, no,
wasn't.
no.
He was
No, no.
just he's just
I'd
he,
be looking at the screen.
he's just sort of like chewing on those rubbish biscuits that you get in a plastic container, and
And that possible mint that was on the pillow.
yeah, and the UHT milk. He's just like,
And then every so often, Tornado will just send Lock on the comms or like through AR just pictures of like and
no, we don't want to know what pictures you're
pictures and emojis of amazing food and like the smell being amazing, and then like a cartoon thing
Would you like
of
me to
Lock trying
those
to eat
pictures
something,
for you?
of a frog trying to eat meat and that sort of stuff, just to tease him a little.
Okay, so the meal's coming to the end. Billy Bob, could you just roll a composure test for me, please? It should
Composure?
be on. Yeah, it should be on your first sheet, just under
it's on the
lifting.
main one.
Yeah, I think it's willpower.
Let's hope we don't have a
How
drunk-
far away is the restaurant from the hotel?
Yeah, if you remember, it's just a 5-minute walk. Yeah,
right.
you actually managed just to keep it to one, Billy Bob. You're very tempted to have another one, but no, one's good, and you just sort of like think, okay, then I won't overdo it tonight, And you notice that the meal's finished, the drinks are finished, and the restaurant is sort of like quietening down a bit, and you suddenly get this feeling that it's probably time to go back to the hotel, back to the Madison. And you sort of like gesture to Erin and Aaron and sort of like say, I think it's time to go back. And they're quite happy and they're quite agreeable to that.
Yeah, and Tornado makes sure he picks up whatever leftovers were from his meal and that sort of thing for
Yeah,
later.
this isn't
Snacking later.
Type of place that does left.
it says, I don't know what kind of place Tornado normally frequents, but it's quite a high status, and they sort of like you sort of like scrape it all onto the middle of your plate and sort of like look around for some kind of bag. And
Well, no, he lost the maitre d'.
yeah, well, the maitre d' comes over and says, "Can I help you, sir?"
I was hoping to take
Is this the
back
accent?
for later. No, I told you I can't do an accent.
Ah, right. Sorry, I thought you
I was
said you
hoping-
were practicing.
Yeah, and it turns Scottish every time, no matter what it started it as. It's pointless. Tornado will say, yes, I was hoping that I could take the rest as a doggy bag or, leftover, take away. Is that possible?
I'm not too sure whether or not we're actually equipped. Very few of our patrons actually ask for takeaway food. We tend to not indulge in such commonality. Let's see if I can get Chef to put something together for you.
Thank you very much.
She sort of like picks up the plate and goes off, and it comes back out again, and it's almost like one of those silver platters, and everything's sort of like being arranged in it, and there's some kind of synth plastic wrap over the top, and there's a little pile of napkins as well, and some cards saying where you've got to say, oh, there you go.
Tornado will take it, say thank you very much, and then he will, on his way out, flash his comlink.
It's a two-handed job. It's a two-handed job with this platter. Yeah.
He'll sort of like, on his way out, he'll sort of balance it on the matrices stand and then look for like a tip thing with his comlink so he can flash to
yeah. It's sort of like it's taken as service.
It's
so
10%.
Yeah. So it's taken. It's
Be one hell of a tip.
it's taken at source, and she sort of like goes, oh, thank you so much, sir, and I do hope you enjoy your leftovers.
I will very much, thank you. It was very, very good.
Studley's going to
Compliments to the chef.
and
And
say,
he's sort of like, yeah, and Aaron goes up and goes, bit embarrassing that.
Well,
Sort of
if it-
files out.
Studley will turn around to Billy Bob and say, "Looks like the route is clear. Let's go."
Yeah, so there's no sign of this this golden, this silver car that you saw before, and there's no sign of the orc in the hospital scrubs either. And you sort of like walk back, and you notice, Billy Bob, that Aaron stays very close to you, and Aaron's doing that classic thing when he sort of like walks, but is on his comm link at the same time, and even when he looks up, he has almost that distant glare in his eye. As if he's actually in AR, still participating in the gaming scenario.
Studley wants to walk, keeping an eye out for vehicles that might be following, and every so often he's just going to switch his perception to the astral.
Yeah.
And sort of like looking more up rather than down on the astral, just to see whether or not there's anything following them.
Yeah, I just out of interest, I was listening to Arcology podcast, and they were saying that astral perception is just a normal perception skill. Is that right? But astral sensing is actually finding out the information. So you actually an astral perception is just like normal. But then you actually do, so you see things as normal, but then you do an astral sensing to understand what you've seen. And I wasn't aware about that. I thought it was almost like all in one. You know.
Oh, so you got to do two.
Yeah. So say for example, you would do an astral perception, and then you would do an astral sensing. So you would see something, Studley. I don't know. I haven't checked it in the rules. You would see something, but then you would sense it to find out. So when the huge shark approached them on the astral, they could sense it and sort of like see the beast coming through, and then they sensed it to find out what it was, and that got their hit. A bit like when Locke does a Matrix.
Right. Yeah. I wasn't aware.
No,
but I mean, we could play it however you want to.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know whether or not you knew that.
Well, I'll do both. I'll do a perception, which will be my for seeing anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah. What's that based on?
Oh, can I keep that? I got 7.
Yeah. No, you go for it. Yeah, that's a good roll.
That's 7 out of 8.
7 out of 8. Yeah.
That's a really good roll.
So I'm looking for things like people who may be following us, cars that are sort of like parked.
Yeah, well, it's
sort of like sort of like driving slowly, keeping up. People on the corner of the street paying more attention to us than.
So is the idea that you're looking for anybody suspicious following?
Yeah, anybody following anybody who might pose a threat.
Yeah. Okay then. Yeah. So as you sort of like watch them go backwards and forwards, you can't sort of like see anything that you suddenly think, oh no, that looks awful, or anything like that. There's nothing like that you can sort of like that you notice.
But we are in an area where there's probably not people.
Well, you are in Central, so I mean it's a very nice place to be. It's not like your normal dingy places that you frequent. This is quite high-tech stuff, this. It's quite posh. I can't think you've ever stayed in a hotel that actually has
stairs.
Actually has some kind of penthouse.
No.
Yeah, we had one with a helicopter landing.
Oh, yes, that's right. You did,
Yeah.
So,
except for there wasn't a helicopter landing. It was on the picture, but it wasn't there.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, well, Billy Bob wants to keep an eye out for the car, just in case he sees it like driving past or parked up somewhere.
Yeah, that's absolutely cool.
Okay.
If it arrives,
sort of keep an eye out on the two children and make sure they're sort of staying with the group and know them. So like he's more sort of like a close perimeter. So if anybody comes into the group, he's going to keep an eye out on. He's going to keep an eye on.
Yeah, so you head back to the to the hotel, and you just sort of like go back in, and are you going up to the rooms? Is that the plan?
Are the kids going to their rooms? Are they?
Well, currently you've just all walked into the foyer.
So
Right.
the plan for as far as Studley's concerned is that he's going to accompany them up to the penthouse and make sure that they're safely back before heading back down to. I think we're on something like the fourth floor.
Yeah,
Billy
you're
Bob's gonna
I was going to suggest if we find out if there's another exit from the penthouse. If there is only the one exit, one of us stays at the door and monitors the door at all times.
Well, what Billy Bob was going to do is see if he can gain access, like skeg the area out, and then turn around and say, "I'm going to take the first watch."
Okay. Tornado was going to head back to the room to drop off the plate of food for himself and Locke, and then he was going to deploy one of his drones so it controls like the outside of the penthouse, so it keeps an eye out on their rooms, like for the exterior exits and balcony, if there's one and that sort of thing.
Are you bringing your fly spy back from the restaurant? By the way?
Yeah, and then he would then command that to come back.
Well, hopefully it's not locked now, because otherwise it's going to have trouble getting. Okay, so let's assume that you sort of like commanded it to leave as you all left, and so let's get them to their room first. So Studley, you're going in the lift. They're going up by the lift, by the way. So it's Studley going with them, and is anybody else going in the lift with Studley and Eric, Aaron and Erin?
Yeah, Billy Bob will go in as well.
Okay then.
Tornado will get the next lift over if there's a second lift.
Yeah.
And go up to the floor. If not, he'll get in the same lift and then.
Yeah, there's a second lift. That's absolutely fine.
Okay. Tornado will say, he'll say to the others, going back to the room, going to get air surveillance going.
Okay, so so Billy Bob and Studley, you get in into the lift. You call the lift, and the lift comes down. The doors open, and you sort of like get in, and somebody comes to walk into the lift, and then they see you, Billy Bob, and just sort of like step back out and says, "Oh, we'll take the other one," and they wander over to stand next to Tornado, waiting for the other lift. And the doors close, and Erin sort of like says,
as we're going up,
Erin says, "Press the button, then."
Oh, gosh. Is there one that says penthouse? Is there
there's all the floors. There's a basement and a sub basement. So it's sub basement, basement, G for ground floor, then 1 right the way up, and then there's a P up at the top. And you also notice there's an R as well, which you think probably stands for roof.
Right. So Studley's going to press the penthouse button.
Yeah, so you press the penthouse, and the lift goes, starts to go out, and she goes, "Wow, you're in the penthouse. That's so exciting. We've never stayed in a penthouse, Aaron, haven't we? We've never stayed in. It's so good that you're living in a penthouse. Hey, are we staying with you then?"
No, I thought, I assumed you were staying at the penthouse.
No, we're on the 5th floor.
407.
I think you have the room below us.
Oh, yes. Yes, my mistake. I pressed the wrong button.
Oh.
It'd be nice to see what it looks like anyway.
Yeah, and
You press the 5th floor before.
yeah, and Studley and Billy Bob, you just sort of think, who got us that information? Who actually got us the information that they were in the penthouse? And so you sort of like press the 5th floor, and the lifts stop, and they sort of like walk out ahead of you, and you notice that they've actually got the room almost like identical but above yours. The only difference is they've got 2 doors next to each other that open onto 2 different almost like double rooms. So as you open the door, they both go in. You can stand at the doorway and you look in, and you can see that they seem to have some kind of seating area with chairs and tables. And then you can notice that over at one side, as you sort of like check it out, there's like a double bed, you know, and a ensuite bathroom as well. And you notice that on the table there's a bowl of fruit, and on their beds there's one of those. The towels have been manufactured into swans, you know. So
Well, ours done like that.
no, you have one single room with 4 bunk beds in, if you remember.
Yes, but we didn't have any towels done as
No,
swans.
you had sort of like there's a huge difference between their rooms and your rooms. Your rooms are almost like a cupboard that they've put beds into, you know, and that's about.
From the door, Studley's going to say, what time will you be wanting to start tomorrow?
Oh, we'll catch you when we get up. No rush. And Erin sort of like walks you to the door and sort of like shuts the door, and you hear it go, and you're just sort of like left there, you know, with the door in your face. You do notice that they're in 103 and 104.
And are the rooms adjoining?
There's not a door interlocking them, but the front doors are next to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's not one of those weird like closet doors where you open it and then they open theirs. And
No. So there's 2 separate rooms. Each are double rooms, and the 2 front door. But they have separate doors, but they are next to each other. So imagine the corridor sort of like has 2 rooms, gap, 2 doors,
2 rooms.
gap, so forth and so
Um, while we was in there, did Billy Bob see if there was like a balcony that they can get out of?
on. Roll a memory check. No,
Never mind. Okay.
you do not that you
I
saw,
was gonna
but
say,
but it is quite dark, and so the curtains would have automatically been shut in any case.
the other
Right.
option is to look out of our window and look straight up.
Billy Bob's just going to turn around.
Sorry. Do you have a window lock?
Do we have a window?
We look.
I don't think you're in the sort of like the major suite room here.
No, did we pay for a window?
You didn't pay for anything.
No, we didn't. Clearly.
Yeah.
So Billy Bob's going to turn around and say, I've got first watch. I'll call you when your turn.
Okay, so tell me about these watches that you're.
I just want to make sure that, like, no one comes up for their room or they don't go out of the room, basically.
So are you camping outside here then?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna find a chair or maybe just like stand guard.
Okay.
You might get arrested doing that.
Yeah.
No, he's got permission.
You might get approached.
Yes.
That's what
that's
you might
fine.
get approached, but we can see what happens. I'm sure you've got some good face skills.
It could be worse. It could be stood there.
So
Right.
so let's say that the time is coming up to like 10 o'clock. So what, Billy Bob? How long are you actually staying there?
It'd probably do 4 hours. How many? There's 4 of us.
3 hours apiece.
Yeah, 3 hours apiece.
Right. So are you all take it in turns to go up and stand outside these doors then?
Studley's
Can
not.
do, unless
Studley's going home.
unless you want me to put some of, unless you want Tornado to put some of his fly spy drones.
Well,
In the corridor.
if that's if
Studley, just out of interest, I think you came in Tornado's bulldog van.
Mm.
You did, yeah.
So the Tornado would
Think-
have to take you home if you didn't come in your scooter, I don't think.
you bring your mother.
Bring your mother.
I
Yeah.
thought you brought your
I thought
mother.
you were bringing your mother.
No, we can't. We can't bring her to somewhere place like this.
Bring your mother.
She went to
Bring
bed.
your
that.
mother.
I wouldn't.
No, it's bring your daughter, isn't it?
Subject you to her.
You could probably set up some kind of video call, Studley, to sort of like touch base with her if you wished.
Okay, so what Studley's going to have to do, the first thing he's going to have to do is going to have to ring Ethel next door to see whether or not Ethel can actually go in.
It is 10 o'clock at night.
Well,
Ethel's probably asleep.
Or hoovering.
Not at 10 o'clock at night. Who
no.
Well, it's 4 in the morning, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. It's way too far in the morning, yeah.
might be easier just to get a taxi.
I mean, would Tornado be able to have his bulldog, because it's slave to his RCC, would he be able to have it do an auto drive home for him?
If you're remote controlling it, yeah.
Well, does it have an autopilot?
I don't know. Does it have a pilot software engaged in it?
Well, how long is it going to take him to get home?
Quite a while, because you're in Central at the moment, aren't you? Yeah.
It's not going to take him 4 hours, though, is it?
No, it's going to take a good hour.
So yeah, you got plenty of time before.
Morning.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't specified that. I had thought it, but not specified it. So no, it doesn't.
Well, if you thought it.
It's law. Yeah.
It doesn't have an autopilot.
Well, I think I bought it, but I haven't put it on the character sheet. So.
Oh well, that's it. But no, I thought all things had autopilot.
It's got a pilot skill of 1.
Yes, that's its autopilot.
That's its
okay.
autopilot.
That's fine. So yeah, it does then.
So it will literally be rolling. If we're doing any tests, then it's literally rolling 1 dice.
So what had you bought but not put on your sheet then?
I thought I bought the pilot thing for it. But,
Right.
No, I bought. Yeah, I bought autosofts for it, which were on the test sheets, but they can only have
1. Because
1.
yours only have 1
It's
because
pilot.
its pilot is 1. If its pilot
Yeah.
is 1. So do you have maneuvering?
Yes.
Yeah,
it does.
So if there's any tests to be made, it will roll its pilot plus its maneuvering autosoft, and it will be a limit of its the handling of the vehicle.
Yeah. Okay.
So Studley's quite happy with that. Studley's going to say, yes, if you could maybe if you could get me home, and I of course will be back as soon as I possibly.
Right. So it'll take you an hour to get home. So that'll get home at 11, and then what are you planning on doing while you're there?
Well, sorting out his mum, so just making sure that she's had the tablets. And
so you're waking her up, yeah, because it'd be like 11.
No, she doesn't go to bed until sort of like.
That's
12.
convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure she went to bed earlier than that in the last one. Okay, then. So how? Yeah. Well, to cut.
Well, Studley's plan is to actually sleep there and come back in the morning, so that he doesn't have to sleep in bunk beds with a room full of other people.
Right. So in which case, Tornado, you will have to program your van. So the van will drive you home, Studley, then wait. And then
Can't it drive there and drive back to the hotel?
It can if it wishes. It won't be able to park. It'll just drive back and then stop because it's got a pilot 1.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So when it gets outside, Tornado will go down, pick it up, park it.
Okay, then. So let's just get this time scale right. So while this is happening, if you roll your piloting roll for me. So Billy Bob, you're starting watch at 10, and how long are you staying on watch for?
Well, since that
Right, so off goes the bulldog, and that's actually a
use an edge.
That's actually a critical glitch.
I'm going to use my.
You can only use it to turn it into a glitch.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay.
So it actually Studley, you get into the bulldog, and you sort of like get in, and you sort of like put your seatbelt on, and it sort of like goes, "Welcome to the bulldog. We will be driving you home this is a Johnny cab. No, it doesn't.
And it heads off in the opposite direction.
And then it actually goes off and it actually plows into a parked car that's right in front of it. It goes like that, and it's sort of like it goes and it's sort of like goes duh, 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 and then eventually it gets out of the parking thing, and you're just sort of like as the bulldog van goes rushing.
He's going to take out his comm unit.
It's a bumper car.
He's going to call Tornado.
Yeah.
Tornado will pick up.
Yes, your vehicle has crashed into another vehicle as it was starting to take
What?
home.
What? Right. Okay.
I have very severe whiplash.
Got lawyers coming out of the woodwork.
I'll have a look at the bulldog.
No, I wasn't worried about your bulldog. I was ringing up for the name and contact number for your insurance.
Right. I'll pass that on to you soon.
Thank you. I may need to go via the hospital.
So just to let you know, Tornado, you sort of like quickly connect up and try to jump into your van, i.e. in rigger style, to see the actual damage of it, because it's slave to your RCC, and you sort of like quickly get in and sort of like jump in, and there's a bit of noise that's sort of like preventing you sort of like getting completely in it, but you cope with it and you adjust your the RCC, so it takes into account the actual noise, and you sort of like run the diagnostic quickly over the vans, and you find you suddenly realize that it's not really bad. It's not really bad. You've got you haven't lost any armor or anything like that, because it's actually got 12 armor and it's got a body of 16. It's got a bit of a scratch, but you watch it back on its sensors, because they've got built-in sensors, and you notice that you have left a huge dent in the Ford America, sorry, the Eurocar Westwind 3000 that was parked outside, and that the alarm's going off, and you definitely clipped its driver's side rear fender sort of thing, and it sort of like took off a couple of lights. Your van seems to be all right. It's sort of like a bit scraped, but the Eurocar, which is a 110,000 credit vehicle,
teacut right out.
It's somewhat damaged. So you're on your way home, Studley, in the lap of luxury. Would you like to press any buttons?
Eject.
Say again, sorry.
Is there one of those that you push in and then a cup holder comes out?
Yeah, you could go.
Cup holder.
Keep doing that. You just keep pressing that.
Yeah.
Just don't hit the button above it.
Right, let's hear from Locke, because Locke's just been sort of like lounging around all day.
No, he's been getting the information.
I've been doing things like waiting for food and
Locke's been Locke the fantastic.
He's been watching telly.
Yeah, the Deckers has been sort of like sat around doing nothing, and he's still expecting to have half the cash when it comes in. So yes, Locke, let's go back to you. What would you like to do?
Okay. When it's who said the penthouse, by the way, for them where they were staying?
You did.
You did.
You.
Was it my fate? Okay.
You failed your role.
Yes.
So instead of saying you don't know, I gave you false information.
I get that. Yeah. No.
So Decker extraordinaire it was.
Oh yeah.
What have you guys made up? We got a Decker extraordinaire and a rigger extraordinaire.
Oh yes.
Oh, we shall survive to the. Right, yeah. Okay, so I will want to try and dig up the itinerary of what's happening tomorrow. Are the cameras on the fifth floor that I can get access to as well?
No, if you remember, you've already tried this in the first adventure. There was no slave devices to the host.
Yeah, so they're all, if there are any cameras, they're all linked separately, aren't they?
Yeah.
In theory. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, it's just
Do you have your own?
maybe what cameras? No,
Yeah.
sadly,
Oh, right.
no.
Should buy some.
Phase did.
I know.
They did, yeah.
I miss
Really?
food.
That's. I don't. I can put my phone against the floor and lean it slightly.
You don't need to lean if you're putting anything by the floor. You're there already.
Oh, what a hotel room. Right, okay. Can I go into AR and see if I can see any cameras on the floor above in the hallway? And if I can, I'd like to view one looking at the room and direct it to my deck if possible.
So you're going into AR and then searching the matrix to see if there's any devices active. That's what you're doing.
Literally. Well, literally, yeah. AR perception.
Yeah, okay then. So you switch your perception into AR, and immediately you're flooded with a whole load of devices in. If you imagine every room in here has one of your mini fridges. Anybody's comlink is operational, and a lot of them are not protected. There's a lot of TRID videos, TRID screens working, hair dryers, anything that is actually electrical and connected somehow wirelessly to the matrix is actually showing up in the matrix at the present moment in time.
Yeah. So can I pinpoint? I'm basically aiming for the hallway where the rooms are above us and trying to get a camera if possible.
Right, so you can't do that in AR.
I'd need to go upstairs and do that, would I?
Yeah, because AR, you're just looking through your normal eyes with the matrix overlaid on it.
It's literally just this room. Right, okay. So in that case, I'll jump in the elevator and go upstairs to the next level.
Okay, then. Billy Bob, I'm just going to leave you there until somebody takes over watch from you. Okay, so you're just sort of like stood there, and you do notice that Locke has figured out that you're actually on the fifth floor, and you go up to the fifth floor and you have a look around, and as previously stated, there seems to be no devices. There don't seem to be any cameras or anything like that. It just seems to be a normal everyday run-of-the-mill hotel. Very upper class, very well provisioned, very nice. You know, I don't think they're not sort of like keeping an eye on their guests, mainly because in this sort of place, it's not. They don't need to. Yeah.
Okay, how long has this been for your watch, Billy Bob?
We're about 30 minutes in.
All right, okay. In which case, I'll go. Hello there, Billy Bob. You okay? Do you need anything?
Billy Bob's going to turn around and say, "It's been 4 hours already."
No, it's only been 30 minutes, Billy Bob. Sorry. Would you like me to get you anything while you're there?
A bottle.
You notice that just down the corridor, somebody opens the door as you're busy chatting there, and sort of like opens the door and sort of like pretends to sort of like look left, right, and you know, it's almost like looking down, almost like thinking, what's that noise? And then they sort of like see you and go, and then shut the door again.
Oh, that's just a little bit strange. Would you like me to get you a bottle? Would you like it full or empty?
I'm fine.
You sure? Do you want me to watch while you pop to the old? No, you good?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. I'll see you in 3 hours.
Okay, sir.
Are you going up the lift or the stairs, Locke?
I will go in the lift.
Okay, yeah. So as you approach the lift, you notice that it's coming up to your floor, and it sort of like goes bing, and opens up, and there seems to be some kind of really well-dressed person. A man has one of almost like a pencil line mustache, and you notice that he's got a badge on, and also his arrow claims that he's the assistant manager of the Madison, and he sort of like says, "Can I help you, sir?"
Oh, hello there.
Sorry. He says, "Can I help you, sir?"
And I go, "Oh, hello there."
Sir, I'm not too sure whether or not you realise the hour, but our guests pay quite extensively for what we like to guarantee as a good night's sleep. I've had some information that you and your colleague are maybe you're lost. Can I help you back to your room at all?
Oh no, it's okay. I'm going back to my room now. But my colleague is looking after the kids in the room next door.
I'm sorry, kids are not allowed to stay by themselves in rooms.
Sorry, that's my turn of phrase. They're not actual kids. They're they're older, but the young compared to me. So he's just making sure they're safe and nobody tries anything here. So I know your hotel's a lovely hotel, but this is just, he likes to be a little bit safer.
If you would like to make an appropriate social roll,
I will, which will come under
probably performing or con, one or the other.
Can't I use my?
It's okay. I've still got my hand blade. I can stab him.
Sure.
Digging a hole.
Sure. It's not social. It's not showing. Oh, right. Okay, I got performance. Can't I use corporate etiquette?
No.
Nope. Well, they're all -1, so here we go.
Would you like to use that's a critical glitch?
Yeah, I'd like to use that. Do I have an edge left?
It's a critical glitch
I
because
don't think you do from the.
No, I used them both from when I was doing my deck.
number one, it's a critical glitch because number one, half of them are
Ones.
ones,
Right.
and there's no successes.
That's
Right.
right.
And that's the difference between a normal glitch and a critical glitch.
And a 50-50 glitch.
So the guy says, "Sir, I think," and he seems to take out. It appears to be sort of like some kind of scanner, and he sort of like pulls it out of your thing, and he just sort of like holds it up, and he says, "Oh, Mr. Locke, yes, Mr.
That's right.
Yeah, let me escort you down to your room down on the next level, and I'm afraid your colleague cannot lurk about corridors like that. This is a most respectable hotel, and it would be rather unfortunate if, after drawing your attention to yourself like you have done, that we have to, say, make an unfortunate call."
I understand, but thank you. I mean, we are trying to help Mr. Dreyfus out, who's hired those rooms. But thank you anyway. I will go to my rooms, and sorry for your inconvenience.
I think your colleague should attend and accompany you to your room as well.
Well, you'll have to speak to him.
Oh, yes, I totally understand, Mr. Smith. I don't think it will be me who will be doing the talking.
I will go subvocal to Billy Bob and say, just knock on the door and see if we can get the one of the Dreyfus kids to pop out and say hello and explain the situation, perhaps.
Okay. So Billy Bob's going to knock on the door.
Which one would you like to knock on? Would you like to, because which you can either knock on Aaron's door or Erin's door.
I think he's going to have better luck knocking on Aaron's door.
Okay.
So
yeah, so you saw that go. You notice that the manager's now got out of the lift lock and is sort of like looking over you towards Billy Bob, who's knocking at the door. You just start to knock again, and the door opens, and Erin's there in what appears to be some kind of very long T-shirt with conventions galore written across the thing. And she goes, "What?" Muscle Man? What?
Billy Bob's going to turn around and he's going to say, "Do you mind going into your brother's room?"
I'm not going into his room dressed like this. Go and get to sleep. We're going to be starting early tomorrow, Muscle Man. Really need to get some sleep. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. I know you're excited, but try to sleep. Well, you need all your energy for tomorrow. And she goes back inside and shuts the door.
Right. Billy Bob's going to message Tornado and get him to get a drone up here as he's slowly making his way towards the lift.
And the assistant manager says, "Oh, I'm so pleased that I would know. It would have been so unfortunate if I had to make a certain call." And he steps over to one side and signals to the open lift for you both to step into.
Yes, I'll step into the lift.
Are you going in as well, Billy Bob?
Yeah, Billy Bob's gonna faff about until the drone gets up.
Tornado will send a message saying drones will be on their way in a moment, and then he's going to log into his RCC. He's going to wake up his 3 fly spies. He's going to put them under his collar, and then he's going to walk. So he's going to tell them to get under his collar of his jacket again.
Yeah, you could just pop them underneath there. What pilot rating are they?
They've got a pilot of 3.
Yeah, so they don't sort of like follow commands like get underneath my collar. You can just pop them there, and they're quite happy to go.
Right, I'll put them there. Then he's going to go out of the room, make sure it's got the auto lock, and he's going to go to the stairs and go up the stairs, up a flight of stairs, and he's going to. When he gets to the top of the stairs, he's going to send a message to Billy Bob saying, "Drones in place. Can get in the elevator if he can see through the door." And then has the door got a see-through bit, or is it like a solid door between the stairs to go into the main corridor?
No, it's just like a solid door.
Okay, so he'll sort of like open the door a crack, and then have the two of the fly spies go into the corridor, and then one fly spy he wants to put in on the staircase.
Okay, so what commands are you giving them?
So one will be to stay in the staircase and just monitor movement in the staircase.
So that fly spy
the same, but in the opposite ends of the corridors.
Okay, so the fly spies just sort of like go up and attach themselves to the ceiling upside down. They're not going to continuously fly, but they'll just attach themselves and then provide a feed to your through AR via your RCC to your cyber eyes, if you have cyber eyes.
Onto his contacts.
So you now have 3 feeds coming in.
Okay.
And Locke and Billy Bob, you get into the lift, and the assistant manager doesn't get into the lift with you. He just reaches round, presses 4, and retracts his hand as the doors close with him on the opposite side, and the lift goes back down to your floor.
Did we know he was the assistant manager?
Yes, because like I say,
I just said. Yeah, no, I'm just having a second thoughts now. Because he would have come. He would normally have accompanied us down there.
Billy Bob's gonna
You just so you know, Tornado, you can see from the feed that he waits up there and he's talking to somebody who came. He goes up to a door and he knocks on the door, and somebody comes out and he sort of like talks to them in hushed tones, and sort of like you can pick up on your drone sensors that he's apologizing profusely and saying that, you know, don't worry, this sort of like thing doesn't normally happen in the Madison, and that he and the guy says, well, I am a very loyal customer here, and the assistant manager says, I know, sir, we will make sure that you are we make sure that you are cared for at breakfast tomorrow. Please do accept the apologies of the Madison. I'm sure there'll be nothing else untoward happening today or tonight. And he sort of like then closes the door and he just walks back to the lift and goes down in the other lift.
Okay. So yeah, Tornado will let everyone know through subvocals saying when he sees that the manager goes back into the lift, says assistant manager's back in the lift. We'll clear on the floor. We'll let you know if anything happens, and he's going to make his way downstairs to the room as well.
So are you getting your drones to alert you if there's any movement in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Question. Would I be able to share the feed with Locke, or would he have to give him a mark or something so he can access the feeds from the drones?
You would have to give two things. Number one, you would have to give him a mark on your RCC, and then he can connect his DNI straight to your RCC and monitor it from that, or you can give him a mark and then he will be able to perform anything that's allowed one mark on your RCC, or you can give him 3 marks so he has more control over it. It would be completely. You can just use the matrix action invite mark if you wished him to have it.
So yeah, he'll wait till he'll probably be the last one in, because he waited up in the thing a while, and he'll say to Locke, and he'll go, so I've got the drones in place. If you want to keep an eye on the feed as well, let me know and I can make that happen.
That's wonderful there, Tornado. And if you take first watch then, and then what I'll do is, if you only get a bit, I can take the third watch after you, and then I'll watch your drones while you're asleep.
No problem.
Which didn't sound creepy at all.
Okay, so are you, Tornado, are you therefore inviting marks?
So towards the end of his watch, he'll let Locke have 1 mark on, just so he can view the drone's feed, because obviously he's only just met and he's realizing he's got to share the resources to keep the kids safe, but he doesn't know
at that point
enough.
At that point, are you disconnecting yourself from the drone feed? Because otherwise, the only reason I'm asking is because, say for example, you go to sleep and the drones sensor movement, they're naturally going to alert you. But if you've disconnected yourself from the drone feed, then they won't. They'll just go straight into your RCC. So you'll just need to pull your data jack out to the RCC and make sure that you're not connected to it in any way, or change the rules, what you want the drones to do.
No, he'll probably keep himself plugged in so that it would wake up, so there's 2 pairs of eyes going on. Okay then.
So it's now about 11 o'clock, by the way, after all this is sort of like settled down. So Studley, you've arrived at home and you're sort of like dealing with whatever. You notice that the Bulldog van has started to head back on autopilot. So how Tornado, how long are you staying awake for the first watch monitoring these drone feeds?
So it's going to be at least another hour, because that's how long the Bulldog's going to take to get back, and then he's going to ask Locke to take over whilst he goes down to to check on his bulldog and park it away from the West Wing.
Okay, and then what's going to happen? So that'll be midnight. Are you then finishing your watch then? Once the bulldogs part and passing over to Locke? Or are you carrying on for a set amount of time? Or are you going to sleep and trusting for your drones to bleep if there's movement at all?
So yeah, he'll probably go to sleep when he passes it over to Locke. After he's parked the bulldog and got back.
Right, so you're watching for so the bulldog will get back at about midnight. So Locke, you probably won't go to sleep in that hour. So you will then take over at midnight. How long are you monitoring the drone feed for?
You're muted.
Sorry, yeah. I would have thought I'd be looking for since big. Billy Bob can't do it. Sorry, one sec. So Billy Bob can't. Oh, can you, Billy Bob? Can you?
No.
No. Jacking.
So I would watch it for 4 hours,
Okay.
and then swap back over to Tornado.
Okay, that sounds right.
So you will actually finish your watch at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so Billy Bob, you can sleep through that. What time? I presume, therefore, when you wake up at 4, you'll send the bulldog off to pick up whatchamacallit, Studley, to have him back. So yeah, Locke, you've just sort of like had you're going to sleep at 4 o'clock. Tornado, you would have had 4 hours sleep and then waking up again, ready to go. Billy Bob and Studley, you'll be fine. You will have had a full night's rest, and about 5 o'clock. Tornado, you suddenly notice that your fly spies are picking up movement, and it seems to be hotel staff walking around, and they seem to be going up and down, sorting things out, putting fresh towels in places. And as the time goes on, you get more and more bleeps as people start to, go down for breakfast and sort of like click in and out and coming up and down the stairs. So eventually, your fly spies are sort of like almost like detecting constant motion as people start to move around.
Tornado, after that, he'll start actively watching them more, and just keep an eye out for any suspicious movement going towards the children's doors.
Yeah, there's. I mean, people walk past the doors, but nobody's going to the teenagers' doors at all, the twins' doors at all. You do notice at approximately 7 o'clock. You do notice that the doors open, and the twins come straight out, and they go straight to the elevator, call the elevator, and this sort of like comes down to your room. And Locke, I mean, you went to sleep at 4 o'clock, and this is sort of like 3 hours. So you've literally had 3 hours sleep, and all of a sudden there's a huge bang on the door, and it's just about you're just waiting to just catch a few minutes more sleep when you all hear this voice say, "Wake up, con buddies! The day's here!" And you sort of like snap your eyes open as if think, "Oh no, what is this?" And you sort of like and get out of bed, and you sort of like immediately go for your nearest weapon, but think no, it's not that. And you sort of like go to the door, and you can see standing by the doorway there's a very elaborate costume that Erin's wearing that looks like some kind of cross between bad fantasy and Victorian garb, and neo steampunk. And Erin is there with wide eyes and a big grin on her face, and she's practically vibrating with anticipation, and meanwhile Aaron sort of like leans up against the wall, so like wearing more casual attire, but again playing with his comlink, and he's almost like oblivious or almost like apathetic to the scene. And he sort of like looks up from his comlink and looks to you and says, "Sup?" And then sort of like looks back. And he's just sort of thinking, how the hell did they get into this room or even know this room? And you get a chance to get ready. And Studley arrives back, and it's sort of like you think, oh no. And Locke, you're really tired. You're sort of like there, and Erin and Aaron sort of like say, "Let's go, let's go." Sorry, Aaron does go. So Erin says, "Let's go, let's go."
So
I take it you mean to breakfast, there, you lassie.
No, we can get breakfast then. Let's get to the convention. Convention buddies, go!
Billy Bob's gonna turn around to Locke and say, "Do you need more time?"
No, I think we best all go together. But thank you, Billy Bob.
Have you got your? Erin says, "Have you got your costumes ready?"
Going to put it on in a second, there, lassie.
Come on, quick! Yeah. Remember what Daddy says. You're meant to give us a good time. We want to go now.
Your time, you little.
So Tornado's going to be getting his stuff. So he's going to pack up he's going to send a quick command to his fly spies through AR to say stay where they are. He's not going to actively monitor the feeds. And then he wants to, unless someone approaches and goes into their doors, can you do that? Or is that too?
Yeah, you can get it to monitor and just sort of like stick them in front of the doorway and just ask for motion in front of the doors. That'll work.
Yeah, so he'll do that.
They wouldn't be able to ascertain whether or not something's going in.
Yeah,
they can ascertain whether or not something's
he wants more specific commands so that it's just monitoring just those doors as opposed to the whole corridor. So
just pop it right in front of the door and just make it look like at the door, like a camera.
So there's one on each, and he's going to get one to come back and meet him in the foyer.
Yeah, you'll have to go and pick it up because your drones can't open doors. And there's doors in between, and there's lifts and things, so you're going to have to go and pick it back up.
Yeah, so he'll go via the stairs in that case to make sure he picks it up, and then he's going to have his RC in instead of a briefcase, it's in more of like a backpack.
Yeah, that's
one of those fancy like laptop style backpacks that he can then open up and do that, and he's got the cable out so he can be actively monitoring it. And he's going to be wearing one of his convention tops that he got in the welcome pack.
So if you guys just decide what you're taking with you, so make sure that you've marked down on your sheets what you're taking with you, and then we can Studley your back now. And can we just roll the Bulldogs pilot roll, please? I just want to see how good it is at parking.
Oh dear. Right, maneuver. Autopilot. Yes.
Oh, Billy Bob's got an awesome costume.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Bulldog sort of like sleeks in and sort of like parks really in between two Mitsubishi Night Skies. So it's sort of like found a space in between, and it just parks in. Just so you know, the combined cost of those two Night Skies is 640,000 credits.
And then the doors open automatically without you.
Yeah, so you're and Studley, you get out. Yeah. And
the back the door opens. It kind of like goes and then like slides back automatically.
Oh, is it a slidey one?
It's a slidey door.
I was hoping it would open up and hit the car.
No, it's that's the back. That's the side door. The front wing doors are wing doors. No, I'm joking.
What's actually your vehicle skill?
My vehicle skill.
Yeah.
Ground skill is 5.
5, and what's your intuition?
5.
5. So if you actually jumped into the van, you would be rolling your vehicle skill plus your intuition, limited by the handling of the car to park it, rather than leaving the auto soft, which is actually 1. This is like, ouch.
I know. I fantastic.
Okay, so it's time to get ready. So you've all organised your outfits, etc., and you are off to the convention.
Can we walk there, or do we have to drive?
No, you can walk. It's just around the
It's
corner.
next.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
So you should have the convention up, and at that point, we're going to take our first quick 10-minute break. And then we can go in and then see what actually happens in about 10 minutes. So if you're watching the stream, then that's absolutely fantastic. Please go and grab a drink, and we will see you in roughly about 10 minutes. Don't go away. Yeah, cool.
without the gun. So he's got his helmet on, and he's got his day sack on, and he's got his armored jacket on.
So the runners are just deciding at the present moment in time what they're going to take with them and what they're not. Yeah, but as Studley was saying earlier on, that because it's sort of like a cosplay sort of like outfit, you know, you could probably wear. I think I mentioned last week that Billy Bob, you could probably wear your armor vest, you know, your armor jacket, because there'll be some people who are wearing false armor jackets, you know, wandering around. So the place would be quite open, and it's probably very difficult to tell the difference between a foam battle axe and a real battle axe. You know, so that would be the difference. Maybe in AR you could notice it because one's probably wireless, you know, and then that'll be it. So yeah, so I mean, basically what you need to decide on is exactly what you're taking, and just sort of like mark it off on your sheet so we know what people have actually got. And then if the thing arises that you need to actually engage with it, then that's it. You know, we know what you've got and what you haven't got. Okay, let's move on. So
We're just waiting for Medivac to get back.
yeah. So okay then. So you all head to the convention centre, and you got Erin, who's really super excited. You know, she's over the top about everything, and even when you get to the convention centre, you're quite surprised how many people there are already there at this almost like unghostly hour, and it seems to be packed with attendees and sort of like helpers and enrollers, and most of them are congregating at the concession stands, and they're feeding their need for sort of like double shots of soya calf and burgers even at 8 o'clock in the morning. And while others are sort of like waiting in lines and seem to be waiting for things to happen and start off. And you notice that there's a huge elaborate array of cosplayers, you know, and you've already seen 6 Neil the Orc Barbarians walking around, and you did realise that only one of them was a real orc. Everybody else was just dependent, and there's lots of people posing for holopics with them. And you sort of like look over, and there's a group of people sort of like stood round, and people are taking photographs of the women. And there seems to be, when you look over, you notice that one of them seems to have some kind of data jack coming out of out of his head, and it's sort of like fingers on a like a keyboard like this. And another one seems to have 2 sort of like crossed pistols like this, you know, with dark glasses on, almost like that ancient game that they used to play in the early 20s, early 2000s. It was called Overwatch. I don't know. It's just sort of like stood like this, and then there's somebody else who sort of like is holding their hand out like that and has their other hand down by the side, and they seem to have a sort of like a little drone on their hand, but it's not actually flying. It's just actually resting on their hand, and they're sort of like, you know, and then there's a woman with hardly anything on, and sort of like whirling a hand. She's got really elaborate makeup on, and she's got a necklace on that actually says mage on it, you know, just in case you couldn't tell. And you do notice over in the other corner there's a rather hunched over guy running around the place who appears to be dressed in sort of like furs and a raccoon tail, and you hear somebody, Erin says, "Oh, look, a shaman!" Like they say as they are running around. And you do notice that there's some law enforcer. One law enforcer that you see seems to be just like on patrol, and he just seems to be walking around. But even from him, you can tell he's quite irritated to be up at this late, and you just sort of think, oh, a nice cup of calf would be a good idea at this present moment in time. And then you suddenly remember that you have those unlimited food bills, don't you? Can you remember that came in? You go,
The little bad things.
yeah. So you could, if you wished, head off to get some food.
So yeah, Tornado's wearing his whatchamacallit, his convention t-shirt. It's like one of his leather jackets, but he's sort of more dressed. He's making his cosplay is kind of like not quite a rigger type person, but a rigger type person, really original. So he can get away with having his cable out, and then he's got one of his one remaining fly spy floating around, which he's controlling manually through his remote control to keep an eye out. And he turns and says, "Anybody else? Anyone Soyakath?"
So sorry, you've got a real fly spy out that you're controlling via remote control, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that wouldn't be not like manual control. It'd be remotely, yeah? Or are you actually having a joystick out to control it?
Can it not be done through AR?
Yeah, that would be remote control. So you would actually, if you do it via remote control, then you're sort of like doing things like it's the control action skill. That's what you would be doing. So depending on what you're doing, which is just like your lock. It's just like your control device. So that's electronic warfare plus intuition. Yeah. That would be your role for that. Okay then, yeah. So what do you guys want to do?
So yeah, Tornado's going to say to everyone, "Anybody up for a Soyakath?"
Oh yes, to be sure, I'll have a Psychoff, please. Maybe 2.
Okay, so Tornado and Locke, you're off to the concession stand to get a soy calf. What about Billy Bob and Studley? What would you like to do?
Well, Studley's got his convention T-shirt on, which doesn't really fit him all that well. But he's going to be accompanying Evan and Alan wherever they go. He'll be just sort of like slightly behind them and off to the left.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's going to be keeping an eye as best he can on the people around. It's going to be very hard to look for weapons or anything because there's all the fake weapons as well. But
yeah, very much so.
He's also going to keep checking astrally, and he's going to have his spell protection ready.
Counter spell, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant?
Yes.
Yeah,
counter
spell.
Yes.
Cool. Billy Bob, what are you doing?
He's dead.
he's waiting for his Soyakath by the sounds of it.
Yeah, he's waiting. No. Billy Bob's going to be doing the exact same thing. He's going to be keeping a close eye on the kids, and wherever they go, he goes.
Yeah. Okay then. So basically, what's happening is that so Locke and Tornado, you head off to buy some. What would you like to buy?
So Tornado's just going to go for. He's going to get 3 Soyakaths. Oh no, he'll buy 4 Soyakaths. Get one to Locke, and then he'll also get one for Studley and Billy Bob as well. As the kids didn't say they wanted anything because he asked in general, and then he's going to make sure that his fly spy's sort of like not just following them, but just flying around, but keeping a track on the 2 children and that we're following. So Aaron and Billy Bob.
Is this? Are you controlling this through AR now, or have you given it a command?
So he's given it a command whilst he's got his coffee, and then after he's got his coffee, he's going to be more sort of concentrating on it. Okay,
so you're piloting it through AR. So are you just buying? Are you and Locke just buying coffee?
Yeah, Tornado doesn't want any food as yet. He's still full up from his Mongolian last night.
Yeah, and Locke, what about you?
Exactly the same. I had the remains of the Mongolian.
Okay, so you guys sort of like wander off and you wait in a queue for the concession stand, and eventually the queue's not the fastest moving because of so many people at the moment, and you eventually get up to the top, and you sort of like order however many soy calves that you want, and you sort of like get it, and you notice that when you look around, you notice that Erin and Aaron and Billy Bob and Studley are no longer where you left them. Did you say the Fly Spy had a command to follow them?
Yeah, it has a command to follow him, so he wanted to see like
Yeah.
a feed over above,
So-
but he doesn't want it to follow kind of like they move, it moves. It's flying around, but keeping an eye on.
Right, yeah. So you can see that they're moving off, and Billy Bob and Studley are on out sort of like either side of the twins, almost like letting the twins go, and they're going over and looking at various stands and having a look at things, and then picking up things and discussing whether or not to buy it, and then moving off. And you can see that both Billy Bob and Studley are just sort of like stood keeping a watchful eye and sort of like scanning around all the time, making sure everything is all right. Yeah.
Okay. So Tornado will send say subvocally to the group through their comms saying, Locke and I are on our way with some soy calf. If you want some, we'll make our way to you.
So Billy Bob and Studley, you hear this?
Billy Bob's going to say thanks.
Studley's just keeping an eye on what's going on around him.
Yeah, cool. So you Locke and Tornado, you start to try to make your way through the crowd of people. Are you carrying 3 soy calves?
I was hoping Locke would carry 2 and I'd carry 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're both sort of like walking around with 2 soy calves each, and you sort of like try desperately to sort of like monitor where the drone is and try to locate these as you're sort of like moving through people. You're Locke, of course, you're having to follow Tornado because you don't have access to the feed, and you're just sort of like walking along, carrying your soy calves, and eventually sort of like after about 10-20 minutes of searching, you manage to sort of like meet up with them, and the twins are busy buying things and getting really excited, and Billy Bob and Studley are sort of like keeping an eye out and sort of like protecting them as they move around.
So as Tornado arrives, whoever he's closest to, whether it's Studley or Billy Bob, he's just going to pass over the one coffee and say soy calf and say, "Here's a soy calf. Might be a little cold / perfect drinking temperature by now."
So yeah, if that's me or Billy Bob, so that's
It could be either. Yeah, I don't mind.
Billy Bob would just like take it out of his hand and down it.
Yeah. And there's various recycles stuff around the place to pop your used coffee cups in to be recycled. Anything else that anybody would like to do?
Okay, I will try. I'm assuming this conference area will be under with cameras and whatnot. So I'm going to try to see if I can monitor the cameras here.
Okay, so
You don't say you'll assume that it would be under. You would make a.
I'll do a perception to make sure there is anything
see
there.
whether or not there's any devices.
Anything Wi-Fi there. So I will do a matrix perception if possible.
yeah, so you switch your perception to AR, and to see what's happening. And instantly, loads of things sort of like burst into your vision as a whole load of arrows appear, announcing, this is for sale, this is for sale, this is for sale. Come here. Come to this. This is absolutely fantastic. And you sort of like roll your matrix perception for me.
Did that work? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there seems to be absolutely loads of devices. There seems to be several little hosts operating as well. Maybe 3, 4, 5 different hosts within the area. They seem to be connected up to popular games rather than anything else. And there seems to be a host of the actual game convention as well.
Okay, we'll have a look at the host of the game convention. Can I do a perception on that to see what strength it is?
Yeah, by all means. Roll your matrix perception. Number 1, you're in AR, so you need to take 2 off the roll, I think. And the other thing is, because of this general idea, there's so much internet going on here that you have a +1 noise modifier as well. Yep. So you need to re-roll it. Your AR, so that's... your AR, that's fine. So you just need to take 1 dice. So you need to roll 7 dice rather than 8.
So if I click that and I go specialization, no, I go modifiers -1. That work?
Yeah, there's definitely a host there. It looks like it's a rating 5 host. What else would you like to know?
Let's have a look. Ski.
How many successes did you get? 3. So you got another 2 successes. Yeah.
Can I see what else it's slave? If anything's slave to it, or
not without actually entering the host?
Actually entering it. Okay. In which case, I will hack on the fly and try and get a mark on it.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, cool.
You could have another 2 bits of information.
Okay, so hack on the fly. So that's your.
I've got -1 on that as well, haven't I?
Yeah, you'll have -1 for everything because of the actual noise at the moment. So what's that? 2 successes.
2 successes. Yeah.
So hang on. Let me just do.
Depends on the strength of the firewall.
Yeah. I think it's my. I'm just trying to find it. It's a sleeve. I always look at it on the wrong place. It's intuition and firewall, so that's cool. Yeah, so you actually try to put one of your frog marks on it, but it doesn't actually take at all, but it doesn't mark you back. So we both got equal successes. So.
Right. Okay, if in doubt, try it again.
Okay, go for it.
So I'll do the same. Yep.
So this is about -1 now.
Yep.
So -2.
-2, sorry.
Yeah, because every time you repeat a skill, you automatically get -1. So you got -1 for the noise, and then -1 because you're just repeating the skill.
And I have 3 successes.
Yeah, so this time you managed to hack into it, and you managed to put a mark onto the GameCon host.
How come on my dice I've got 3 6s, a 5, and
because they don't match up.
Right, okay. Sorry, answer that one.
Roll 20.
So I've got a mark on there. Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'll do a perception and have a look for a camera slave going to the host?
Well, I'm assuming you're entering the host first.
So entering the host first. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, so you're still in AR, and you can see people around that. Locke's eyes are sort of like flickering, as he keeps up with his sort of like matrix activity. Yeah, so you can enter the host. That's absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then what would you like to do?
I want to have a look for any slaved cameras to this host.
Yeah, well, you can see everything that's in this host. So there seems to be things like power generators, lights. There seems to be some kind of ticket device on the door marking off tickets and things like that. There seems to be no cameras. There seems to be no security systems or anything like that. It just seems to be like a big hall that's had sort of like the general sort of like mechanical workings of a hall, so things like the aircon, power, lights. There seems to be some kind of ticket recognition in operation. When people seem to be scanning tickets, it's coming in and checking a database and making sure that everybody's accounted for, and it seems to be using the majority of its processing to fulfill that.
Right, okay. In which case, if there's no camera system here, I will come out.
Okay, so you come out of the host and you naturally remove your mark on it as you exit the host.
And I'll do a quick reboot as well while I've done that.
Okay, and then you reboot your deck. Okay, does anybody want to do anything else?
No, he's Billy Bob's just gonna keep an eye on the kids and make sure no one's bothering them or.
Okay, so Tornado and Studley, anything that you guys would like to do?
No, again, Studley is keeping an eye on the kids.
Okay.
Yeah, Tornado will be doing the same, but mainly through his monitoring the drone feed as he's walking around. Occasionally, he'll sort of seem to take interest in the odd stand, and the kids, if the kids talk to him, he'll respond.
Okay, so the kids don't sort of like engage with you guys at all. They seem to be very intent on enjoying the convention, and it gets to about 20 to 10. So you guys have been wandering around for some time now, and you're sort of like wandering around, and you suddenly get you're just getting on the point of thinking, how much longer will this last? When Erin suddenly informs you all that you need to get to Hall C4. Because they have actually got a scheduled game of Galactic Patrol Robo Warrior Force 7th edition. That's I'll pop it in the chat for you. To Hall C5, and it is due to start in about 5 minutes.
Not C4.
C4, yes, sorry.
Not the Bang C4, but the Room C4.
Hall C4.
Big bada boom.
Galactic Patrol Robo Warrior Force 7th edition.
Very catchy name.
He's going to say, are you taking part in the game?
Yeah, Erin and Aaron are sort of like looking around, and Erin sort of like saying, "Where is it? Where is it? I can't see it. We need to be there. We need to be there."
Is there like is there like a map on our?
Yeah, well, you call up, your decker can call up a map from the host while he was in there to get a general layout of the place, and he sort of like superimposes that over your comm links, and you can see that Hall C4 is opposite on the other end. You also notice that there's quite a lot of people in between here and there. Is there any way? Are you just planning on just walking towards it, or is there anything that you would like to do at all?
Yeah, I was going to suggest Billy Bob take point, and we'll just like do a triangle formation through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sort of like Billy Bob, you start to take point and sort of like march your way through, and the majority of people sort of like get out the way. Could you just roll your intimidation for me? Because I think you have intimidation.
I do indeed I do.
Yeah, and Billy Bob sort of like starts and he's trying to look really mean as he walks through, and people are sort of like thinking, they're sort of like looking at him. A lot of Neil the Orc barbarians are stood in his way, as if to say, "Come on then, come on, Mr. Barbarian."
They can't see my face anyway because I've got the tin pot on.
Yeah, and he's just sort of, they're sort of like, they don't look threatened by you at all. If anything, they look quite disappointed with your outfit. And as you're walking through and trying to move, and Billy Bob's trying to move people out the way, trying to look mean, which is often really hard when you've got a full helmet on. And he's sort of like moving along, people are sort of like begrudgingly getting out the way as you sort of like walk through. And you eventually get there, and by the time you actually get there, there's a huge amount of people there, all sort of like jostling, trying to get in it. And you can see that there's almost like a riot about to break out, and there's people sort of like waving tickets in the air and sort of like and you notice that it's 9:50. And Erin starts to become really upset and sort of like say, "Oh, no, we're never going to have a game. We were meant to be there at 9:40, and we're not going to get a game at all now." And you even notice that Aaron is looking a little bit miffed and actually grunts now and again.
So they're supposed to be playing in it.
Yes, it looks like they've got a scheduled game due at 9. Well, they did have a game at 9:40. It's now 9:50.
Is there a way that they can? Right. Okay. Is there a way you can schedule?
I don't want to reschedule. We've been waiting for this game for ages.
Does this game have a host?
Decker's here.
Decker, sorry. Does this Matrix Perception see if I can see the host of this game? And what I'm planning to do is try and find a time slot, kind of like now, and get them to swap their time slots around.
Right, so you first of all, yeah, you can find the host, so you'll need to do a hack on the fly. This is not the same game system as the big GameCon host. No. This is its own gaming system. So you need to roll your normal hack on the fly test.
Yeah, with a -1 still.
Yeah. Yeah, so you send out your little frog spawn to market, and as you send it out, it goes on with only 3 successes, and it hits it and it bounces back round, and you end up with a robot stuck to your onto your persona. It looks like the system has marked you.
Yeah, so I'll remove that mark. In fact, I'm not even in there. I can just reboot my system, can't I?
Okay then, so you again reboot your system.
Yeah. Do you want to roll for that?
Oh no, you just turn it off. So as you all sort of like stood around the sort of like you notice that Erin and Aaron are getting more and more agitated, but all of a sudden you notice that a woman, an elven female, sort of like arrives and stands on top of a chair. She seems to have like red curly hair, and her arrow name tag identifies as Christina. And she seems to be part of the demo team for the Synergist computer game, which is who's providing this. And she actually barks out almost like a marine drill instructor. And she calls to the crowd. She says, she sort of like shouts out, "Shut the frag up!" And which they do with astonishing speed and almost like synchronization across. And then she sort of like informs everyone, and she sort of like says that everybody's going to follow the correct instructions to sign in. And all of a sudden you notice that people are sort of like organizing themselves. And Aaron sort of like turns around to you guys and sort of like says, "She's scary. I rather like her." And you sort of like get in line, and you suddenly notice that somebody, one of the demo team, sort of like come up to Erin and Aaron, and they come straight up to them and say, "Oh, hello, Mr. and Mr. and Miss Dreyfus, and please come this way." And all of a sudden you notice that Erin sort of like perks up a bit. She realizes she's getting some sort of like specialist treatment, and you sort of like follow them down, and then as you get to the sort of like the entrance, you notice that it goes in, and it seems to be like a round table, and there seems to be chairs at this table, and in the middle there seems to be a man, and everybody's sort of like in front of each table. There's sort of like a set of headphones and like a VR headset. And the guy sort of like says, "Everybody, please take a seat."
So they're not connecting up via a data jack or anything like that?
"Please, everybody take a seat. We're waiting to start." Erin says turns around and says, "Surprise, con buddies! I've got you all a place as well to play."
Awesome! That's totally rad.
Billy Bob's gonna refuse.
Billy Bob sort of says, "No, not me." And Erin sort of like goes, "Oh,
Tornado's gonna.
I thought it would be a really nice prize for everybody, and I tried to do my best." And Aaron looks at you, Billy Bob, and says, "Not cool, man. Not cool."
Tornado gives Billy Bob a nudge and says over sub vocals, "It's all right. We've got the drone to keep up to watch our backs." And he says as he puts his thing on.
Billy Bob's not going to go for it. He doesn't care. He's not going. He's not going in.
Okay then. So what's Billy Bob want to do?
Billy Bob's just going to keep an eye out.
Yeah, so the rest of you sit down at the chairs, and you sort of like put your headsets on, and the guy who sort of like put you in sort of like says to you, "Billy Bob, you need to wait outside." And right. you do notice, everybody else, that there's 2 seats left at the table. There's 2 seats. He sort of like says, please, sir, if you're not playing, then you need to step outside. And there seems to be somewhat of a curtain. It doesn't seem to be a door. It seems to be almost like a makeshift curtain. And Billy Bob sort of like goes outside. And as you're about to go outside, Billy Bob, you notice somebody else comes in, and it seems to be a human male. And guys, you before you put your VR helmets on, you sort of like see this about a human male, about 25-year-old, and he's got like a homemade crate on wheels, which is sort of like filled with materials and snacks in it, and he's pulling it up, and you can see that his Arrow name tag says Crank on it, and he's wearing a T-shirt that says L /3 T.
Oh, leech. No, it's Crank with a K.
No, it just says L /3 T on it, and he sort of like comes in, and he sort of like looks. He says he looks around, and then he sort of like sits down, and the guy in the middle is sort of like, he's in about his late 30s, and he's wearing smart glasses. And he's sort of like looking very smart, and he's just about to start the game, and this Crank guy sort of like says, excuse me, I've spent a lot of time crafting my character and configuring my robo. GM, do you wish to evaluate it before we begin? And the game master just sort of says, no, Mr. Crank, we will be going by the honour system today. And Crank goes, oh no, oh, how disappointing, after all my hard work. And everybody's sort of like...
Dudley's just looking completely confused. He's just sort of like looking around like this with his VR thing on.
Yeah, and it's everybody sort of like settles down. You put your head jacks on in your VR, and all of a sudden you seem to be in what appears to be almost like Fight for New York or something like that. You seem to be sort of like mini like robots, and you sort of like move your arms around, and you've got guns and things like that. And it seems to be a game that you sort of like go in and you have to go around and do a series of quests inside the game, and sort of like fire at things and sort of like shoot things and do puzzles and things like that. And it's sort of like starts off and everybody is sort of like really doing a good job. Is there anything anybody would like to do?
Yeah, I'm going to try and stick as close to Aaron and Erin as possible, their avatars in this game,
Okay.
while doing the quests as well.
Yeah, cool.
Is it like a team game, or is it?
Yeah, so you're all sort of like a team together going through the quest. So this is like your team against the computer. Yeah.
Okay. So Tornado's going to be keeping fairly close, but he's going to be trying to do as well as he can possibly do, because he's quite competitive. And he's hoping that his background in his previous life before Shadowrunning is going to come to the foreground at the moment.
Cool.
And that sort of thing. So his military training and his use of using remote gun turrets on drones and that sort of stuff are going to.
So anybody who's got electronic warfare skill can roll that with their logic. And if you don't have that, Studley, because do you have that?
No, but Studley's thing is going to be to be at the front and try to get hit as soon as possible, so that he can actually get out of the game, but then monitor things in the mundane, if you see what I mean, when everybody else.
Oh yeah, well that's quite easy. So you just sort of like step in front of the first rocket and sort of like just kill yourself, so you're out the game. Do you just actually want to take your headphones off and everything, or just leave them on?
So he wants to he wants to once he's out, but still in the room, he wants to take off his VR thing and just put it on the table.
Yeah. Anything else that you would like to do?
Well, he wants to have a look at this this Crank guy.
Yeah.
And maybe view him in the astral to see whether or not there's anything.
Yeah, so making a sensing test. So yeah, did you guys make your electronic?
No, I'll do mine. Do you want to just do a matrix check Overwatch rather than typing it on? Then we can do the same thing.
Well, yeah. All I need you to do is electronic warfare and intuition roll.
Intuition. Sorry, no,
Yeah.
that's sorry.
Intuition. Sorry, yeah.
Just roll your electronic warfare and change it.
If Billy Bob sticks his head through the curtain, can he see everything?
Well, this guy is sort of like stood on the opposite side of the curtain now. It's sort of like preventing anybody going in, because it's almost like a private session. So he's sort of like stood there. So Tornado gets 3.
But Billy Bob can keep peeking in from time to time.
Well, you would have to somehow move the guy who stood in front of the curtain. So he's sort of like.
So he's on my side of the.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Sorry,
Right, okay.
He's on your side. Yeah.
I thought you
32.
meant he was on my...
What are you doing, Locke?
Four.
Four.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So Tornado and Locke, you're doing really well in this game. You're popping off shots. You do notice that you've got little hit counters coming up, Locke and Tornado, in your your vision, and you sort of like got the team, and you notice that Crank is the highest scorer. Then Locke, you're next. Then Tornado, and you notice that Aaron and Erin are not doing very well at all. They seem to be missing a lot of their shots. They're either, you sort of like think, well, yeah, you're not very good. You might like game conventions, but you're not very good at this. You want to astral percept Crank, yeah. So so his aura is. What information do you want? So your first information would be about his aura, because that would be quite standard. Yeah. So he's quite extent. He's not magically active, no, but his aura is very excited at the moment. He's obviously very intense, and he's very competitive and playing the game.
Okay. Can I sense the presence or see the presence of any cyberware?
Yeah, you can see something that you've seen very similar before. He actually he has a data jack in his head. Yeah.
Okay. Is the guy who was in the room? Is he the person that took us in to begin with? Is he on the opposite side of the curtain?
Yeah, he's on Billy Bob's side of the curtain. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So the game sort of like continues, and you notice that Crank becomes somewhat not aggressive, but almost like impatient, especially with what seems to be more to do with Erin's character rather than Aaron's. And he keeps sort of like saying to Erin, "Oh, get on with it. Erin, get on with it. Come on. Oh, no, she's missed again. I've paid good money for this. Get on with it."
Tornado's going to try and to not obviously help Erin, but sort of like set up so that Erin gets a few more like lucky shots, or so basically try and make it. So he's going to set up a lot of shots for her so that she manages to get a few kills and tries to make sure that she's doing a little bit better.
Yeah, so you sort of like try to help her out, and you notice that. You notice that Erin's becoming more and more frustrated because Crank sort of like says, "Oh, so you got help now to help you? Can't even kill these simple invading aliens yourself, can't you? Talk about not being very good at this game. I don't know why you even bothered to turn up."
Is this in the in-game chat, or is he saying it out loud?
Well, he's saying it out loud, so you can actually hear Studley, but it's coming over the microphone, so you can hear it coming through your headphones as well. Okay, and then Crank.
Take your time and concentrate.
Crank starts to sort of like almost like starts to give orders over people, and he sort of like turns to you guys and sort of like says, "You go. You take the left side. I'll go down the middle. We leave these other people to try to deal with what's left here. Let's go for it."
Yeah, so vocally, I'm going to say to Tornado, say yes and let him go alone.
Tornado just says says subvocally yes.
Yeah, so Crank sort of like
completely ignore Crank, and we're playing. Tornado's playing with Locke and Erin and Aaron.
Yeah,
and
so
the other guys that
he sort of like barks off the orders, and he goes dashing in, and he's sort of like killing things left, right, and centre. And he looks round, and you four just sort of like stood there. And he just takes on the whole of them, and he's just killing them left, right, and centre. And he sort of like shouts back at Erin and sort of like says, "Yeah, you just stand there with your friends. I can do this." And he just sort of like keeps popping off, and he's exploding things left, right, and centre.
What's getting it for Erin? That's the thing. Is it like a "I'll pull your pigtails, I like you" sort of thing, or is it? I don't know.
Tornado says over subvocals to Locke, say, "Should we gang up on him?"
Well, do you know, it would seem like a fantastic idea, but it's a co-op, I don't think it'd go down well if we team kill. So let's. Oh, I don't know.
Well, in that case, we need to
We
say
need to
something.
tell Erin and get her pushed up forward.
And the game starts to close down as you four sort of like stand and watch. Crank takes on the final boss, and he seems to be jumping around with quite a high amount of dexterity, sort of like firing his rifles off and his gun cannons. And every now and again he has something that pops up on his shoulder and sends out missiles and sort of like blows things off. And you notice on the leader table, he's just the gap between him and you guys is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as he sort of like pulls up, it increases the skills and the kill side.
He's a hacker. Gotta be.
And then all of a sudden the big final boss sort of like collapses on the ground, and even you outside Billy Bob hear Crank let out a huge cheer, and he starts to say, "Did it! I did it!" And he sort of like takes off his helmet and his VR goggles and everything, and he sort of like turns round to Erin and sort of like Aaron and Erin and sort of like says, "Well, you were some good, weren't you? You just stood around with your friends. I had to take everything on myself." And even Aaron, you notice Aaron at the table now is becoming somewhat animated, and he seems almost like quite cross. It's the first time you've actually seen him cross like this at all.
Hey, Crank, it's a team game, not a one-man game. If you want to do a one-man game, go play a one-man game elsewhere.
Yeah, notice you were a team player, stood back letting me take on the boss by myself.
You know, well, like I say, it's a team game.
Yeah, well,
You
no
just
worries.
charge
I
it.
won. Loser, mate.
don't leave.
Loser.
You're
Loser.
a winner in
You
game.
wait. And he sort of like gets up and he sort of like shakes.
I wait for what, Crank?
And
What were you
he
wait
shakes
for?
the middle, the GM's guy. Said, "Thanks for a great game. I didn't think it was going to be so good as that, but ace game, mate. Shame about the losers with me, but you know I really did it in there, did it?" And the guy says, "Yes, of course, Mr. Crank, you did very well. You came top of the leaderboard by quite a significant lead." And Crank goes, "Yeah, thanks, mate." And he sort of like puts the thing, "Great game. I'll definitely be buying this one." And he picks up his little cart and he heads off towards the door. And as he sort of like passes Erin and Aaron, he sort of like turns around to Erin and just gets almost like not really close to her or anything like that, but just like looks her straight in the eye and goes, "Loser," like that to her. And she just suddenly bursts into tears and puts her head down on the table.
Tornado is going to send a message to Billy Bob over the vocals and say, "That Crank's being a bit nasty to him. Have a word."
I think Billy Bob would have better comfort in Erin.
Yes,
Yeah.
Billy Bob. What would you like to do, Billy Bob?
So as that Crank dude comes through,
Yeah.
Billy Bob.
So yeah, so the curtain.
accidentally barge him.
Yeah, so the curtains open, and you can see that there's another line of people ready to come out, and Crank comes out. Yeah, by all means, knock him.
So
Just roll your unarmed combat and strength. Yeah.
unarmed combat and strength. So strength 7, 11. Normal roll. Number of dice 18.
Yeah, and as he comes out, you sort of like bump him, and you literally send him flying across the floor, and he sort of like lands with his crate, and there's almost like a sudden like this, a gasp as he sort of like falls from the floor, and he sort of like turns around and says, "You knocked me over, you!"
Billy Bob's going to turn around and go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there, sir."
And he frantically tries to picks up his cart and sort of like puts his munchies back in, and he sort of like says, "You better watch it, you Mister. There's proper law enforcers here, you know, to protect me against people like you." And he sort of like pushes his crate off in front of him as he goes off to what appears to be his next game.
Billy Bob's just going to chuckle under to himself.
Meanwhile, back in the game, you notice that Erin is just sort of like in floods of tears over not doing well or not doing very well or whatever reasons, and Aaron's trying to sort of like comfort her. And she's just sort of like saying, "I hate this game con. I absolutely hate it. It's the worst game con ever." And
so vocally, I'm going to ask Billy Bob, can you come in here and see the Erin, give her a bit of comfort? She seems to take a shine for you. So just give her a hug and say, you know, it's only one game. There's a lot more to come.
Studley will say, "I didn't do very well at all. I got killed straight away."
And Aaron and Erin sort of like get up and sort of like you notice the guy in the middle of the table sort of says, I'm sorry, I think you have to go. We have another game coming in."
Studley, as they're going out, Studley's going to say to them both,
I was under the impression that you were very good at games.
Erin just can't speak. She's just in floods of tears still. And Aaron just sort of like turns around to you and says, "Yeah, we are, mate. We are, dude. We're ace at them."
But only certain ones, I take it.
He says, "No," and he sort of like looks you straight in the eye, and says, "All of them." And I'm just typing something to Discord for you. And he turns back round to Erin and sort of like starts to escort her out and says, "This isn't been a very good time here at all."
what type of, just like static, was it?
Yeah.
Has it ever done that before?
No.
Studley's going to turn around to Locke, and he's going to say,
Are you interfering with the con system in any way? I seem to be getting a lot of crackling.
Just as you come out to the curtains, by the way, as you're coming out, there's walking around. There's a huge troll. He's wearing glasses and a very smart tailored suit, and he's wearing a name tag and an arrow card that says Bob. And he sort of like steps out, and he sort of like comes round from the corner from the direction that Crank had gone, and he sort of like comes around and says, "Is everything all right here?" And the guy at the curtain sort of like looks at you, Billy Bob, and says, "Fine."
Billy Bob's just gonna look confused, as only he can, and wait for the others to come. Have they come?
Yeah, they just came through the curtain as this happened, so everybody saw it.
Yeah.
Vocally, Locke's gonna say to Billy Bob, "Blow his freaking head off. Just take him out now."
So
trolls.
we've heard this troll say this.
Yeah, he has a badge on that, or he looks like he's probably part of the heavy crew for the game. You know, so he almost like looks like he's part of the. He's probably sat in the back, you know, not thinking anything serious was going to happen, but obviously he's been called to the front for maybe a disturbance.
Mm-hmm. Studley's going to say,
Sorry, there was a slight accident. I would maybe in future change the curtains to something that allowed people to see both ways, because unfortunately, as somebody was trying to come out the curtain, somebody was also trying to go through it, and there was a well, let's just say they collided, and one of the gentlemen ended up on the floor. I think this was mainly due to the size difference and the mass difference.
Cool. Roll your con roll.
no successes.
You guys had the best dice rollers around. What did you actually roll? 4, 4, 4, 3, and 1. And of course, you haven't got your charisma thing up, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you.
I didn't know whether or not there was any situation modifiers.
No, not at all. If anything, positive on him rather than you, due to the size difference. He just sort of like goes, we'll take it on board. Thank you. He says, enjoy your day. And he sort of like
Yes, you too.
encourages you to move along.
Tornado's going to ask Erin and Aaron if they want any food or sweets or.
No,
or
Erin just sort of like says, I want to go back to the hotel. This has been the worst day ever. I hate it here. I absolutely hate it. And Aaron sort of like says, I think we better go back.
Billy Bob's going, no, he was up for strip club.
I thought you did pretty well.
And they start heading towards, heading over, making their own way through the game.
I was going to say, just wait up. Let's see what's next on your list, and let's give it one more go for you, because you never know. There's always one idiot to spoil the day. You don't want to rule the whole day for just him, do you? So let's give it one more go and see if we can change your mind about this. You're here to have fun. Why waste a day going back to your hotel room when you could be here just having fun?
Excellent.
So, come on, Aaron.
Well,
come on, Aaron.
Roll your con roll.
Yeah, this way it goes downhill, that doesn't it? My con roll.
Hack on the fly.
I wish it was.
Actually, it's the same. They're no different.
There we go.
This is where the deck.
I don't think you're Locke. I think you might have some expertise in other areas of the thing, but in conning or persuading or face skills, I don't think you've really got the prowess.
No, in my head I have.
Yeah, but not
yeah. No.
And Erin is sort of like just crying out loud now, and Aaron just sort of like looks at you as if to say, "But out." And you can see that they're moving back to the exit, and you can follow them back. And they just literally go back to the hotel, and they sort of like go up into the rooms, and Aaron takes Erin into her room, and sort of like, and then sort of like comes back out and sort of like says to you guys, "That's the worst day ever. This is turning out to be the worst game con ever." And then he turns to you all and says, "We'll see you tomorrow." And he goes into his room and shuts the door. And I think we will leave it. That'll be a suitable place to leave it for tonight. And then next week we can start on day 2 and see whether or not anything goes any better for the twins on day 2.
Just one more day left.
Just out of interest, what time would this be now?
Oh, really, it's only about sort of like
10 o'clock, 10:30.
no, because you were late getting to the hall, so that was sort of like 10 to 10, and then there was all the kerfuffle, and then you played a good hour, off and on the game, and so you're probably back in the hotel about lunchtime. So starting on the next adventure, you will have the afternoon and the evening if you wish to do anything that you can talk about next week, unless you want to do it now. We've still got 6 minutes if you want to do it now.
No, because I want to do a brief shopping spree. I'll work out what I need.
Okay, cool. Right, so we'll leave it there for this week. Is there anybody who would like to make any announcements in preparation for the rest of the week?
I've got my debut match.
Oh, how exciting! Whereabouts?
10th of June.
Is it on telly?
No, not yet. It's near where I live.
How do we see it?
It will be filmed. It will be going up on
YouTube.
My YouTube. So yeah.
Can you get your missus to do Twitch live in real life?
Yeah.
Do like
stream it.
Do like a sports channel. That would be cool.
Put a head cam.
Yeah.
I might be able to do that.
Yeah, wear a cam. Do it on.
I won't be able to do that.
So what date? What date is it?
It's the 30th of June.
Oh,
so it's a while away then.
Oh,
Not that far away. Jeez.
It's over a month away.
Can I just say a huge thank you to Tunaf for the tip of £25. You are indeed a waffling champion, and it's lovely to see you, Tunaf. We very rarely see you over here, but I know I still watch you on with you playing your paladin, your half-orc paladin, which I love. Thank you so much for the tip. Very much appreciated. We're just talking about Big Beastie, who is going to have his first ever live wrestling match. What's your name, Big Beastie?
Big Beastie.
No, I've been created Spike Stevens.
Spikes? Do you have spikes?
wow.
Do you have spikes in your costume? Yeah.
No.
Do you have Stevens on your costume?
It just says Spike, don't it?
You don't have SS on your costume, do you?
Yes, that was the problem of having that name.
Don't tell me it's orange and red and white and black.
So is it full body contact wrestling?
Yeah, it's actual wrestling. Yeah.
No, it's just thumbs.
Or do you just go? You just go. No, get off me!
One more. Yeah, that's
Oh, how fantastic! So where will we be able to see this match, Big Beastie? Do your advert now? Yeah.
Right, you'll be able to see it on my, at least on my YouTube channel. I will try and endeavor to get what is it called, Periscope?
Periscope. Yeah.
Periscope. Yeah, I'll see if
that's on Twitter. That's on Twitter. Yeah, you can do it straight from Twitter. That'd be cool.
And
what time is it?
People who won't be able to watch it, do you win?
I don't know yet. We don't get told until on the day.
What date is it?
Spoil it.
Don't spoil it. Is it during the day, in the evening?
It's an evening show. So,
I didn't catch the date. Sorry, what's the date?
30th of June.
Check your Twitter.
Yeah.
Posted about
Saturday evening. I'm not playing Mithras in this.
Oh well, perhaps.
We're having a road.
Perhaps what we can have, just sort of like on that side above Chugga where I have the glass, maybe on that side above whoever's, I think it's normally you up there, Hangers, I think, or Medivac. We could have a little video feed. So while we're playing Mithras, you can see Big Beastie going really. Oh, that'd be fantastic. Well, we're all rooting for you, Big Beastie.
Yes.
Sorry, what's your name again?
You will win if it's written that way.
Magic Mike. Sorry, Magic Mike.
Yeah, that's it.
Go Magic Mike. Yeah, excellent. So Medivac.
Yes, I will just be randomly streaming again the power that is BattleTech.
Oh, that's boring.
Awesome game.
Yeah, I've seen lots of people playing that actually.
I know it's. I'm really happy that it's taken off in a big way.
Yeah.
So it's the 80s.
It got slated.
It did, yeah.
Whatever. Really?
Yeah.
I've not seen a review. I've been too busy playing this awesome game.
But there seems to be on Twitch, there seems to be a lot of people playing it, and a lot of variety streamers are actually playing it, which is nice, I thought. A
lot of variety streamers are actually playing The Forest at the moment, because that's just had
an update.
Just gone forward.
And I watched Spoiler. Spoiler alert. He was actually playing God of War, and I actually saw the ending. He's actually complete. So I actually sat and watched the ending of. And I feel like I don't need to buy the game now. I feel like I've done it.
I don't want to buy the game because I don't want to buy a PlayStation 4.
I know, but I honestly,
it looks so good though.
Do you want to know? It looks absolutely fantastic. The actual graphics.
Oh, it does. I've seen it. Yeah, is it Coh, whatever his name is, just on mine.
Unreal Engine.
Yeah. It's very nice looking.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for State of Decay 2.
I don't think I would actually be able to play it. I don't think it's my game. There's a lot of dodging out the way, but
that's co-op as well, isn't it? Now
it is, yeah. State of Decay 2, yeah.
That's what? Sorry,
co-op. State of Decay 2.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Xbox and Windows 10 swap over as well, if memory serves.
Cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, I actually
Windows Microsoft Store. You can't get it anywhere else.
So Spoiler was actually he was actually playing it on hard mode, and he was trying on the hardest mode when he was trying to play, because there's been other Gods of War, have there, before that one. Similar games. So anyway, he couldn't finish it, or he finished it on there, but then he went back and was doing all the collection stuff, and then he he streamed the ending. It was a really good ending. I honestly, there were some parts of it, the cutscenes. I actually get goosebumps watching
Was it like Avengers Infinity Wars? Did you have a tear in your eye?
I haven't seen it. No,
there's a spoiler for you.
And can I just say, Medivac, because I support the film companies. So if I am going to see it, I will go and pay for it rather than illegally download.
Well, no. I saw it at the cinema, so I'm fine. No,
actually, if you watch my stream from last Saturday, there might be, which is now on YouTube. Just so everybody knows. So I'm not too sure what to make of that at all.
Anyway,
just make it easy for him who's doing God of War. What you should do is what I do: set it to hard, and then stop the feed. Do it to easy, and then move it on.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I must admit, I really thought the ending was absolutely fantastic, and it was a really good ending when they go back to the house. I thought that ending was fantastic. So, but I'm not saying if you well worth playing it, really good, and I love the world.
Spoilers out.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It looks a really good game. I would be really rubbish at it, but Spoiler, who used to be Roy Killer _93, but he's now Spoiler. He was really good at it, so that was fantastic.
Hey, what? Roy Killer's changed his name?
Yeah, he used to be called Roy Killer _93, but now he's called Spoiler. So SP.
Has that just happened in the last day?
Beginning of the week, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And apparently, he was saying to me, he tweeted me and said, in the UK, let me just find it. In the UK, there is some stuff, some biscuits that actually have codes on for Sea of Thieves.
Oh, don't get that game.
Oh,
Chips Ahoy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Skins. There is an action about Sea of Thieves skins in the UK on a product called Ships Ahoy in the UK. So you can go to this. You don't need to buy them. You can just take a picture of the code.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to Sainsbury's and just sort of go scan.
Sell them.
Oh, so you don't support the arts of the.
I'm not going to eat any. I don't want to get huge. So anyway,
160 calories per 3.
Really. Excellent.
Yeah.
Longshanks or Chuggerwugger, any news that you would like to give out?
Nope.
No.
Yes.
No, I'm still here.
Excellent.
Still alive.
So I will be back. Tomorrow's rest day. I'm going to try to do some streaming on Thursday. I don't know what I'm going
What
to do
happened to
yet.
Minecraft?
Well, yesterday I was just busy. I came back late
right.
from work, etc., so it wasn't possible. But I need to get. You're right. I need to get back into the swing of things. But I will do. But I accidentally bought some things from Amazon. I was saying to Chuggerwugger, and I suddenly looked at it and thought, how come they can cost that much? And I suddenly realised that I'd gone to the checkout without checking below the line of the internet browser, and I had also ordered myself an Elgato green screen and an Elgato Stream Keys thing that I'd put in there to have a look at and so like save for later. So now I've bought them, and as Chuggerwugger said, it's not worth sending them back now, is it?
Yeah, you've got it.
That's what we call in the business fate.
Yeah,
You
well,
clearly
that's what
wanted it and not
Chuggerwugger said.
done
So I'm looking forward to having a play with that. So anyway, I will be back on Thursday, and after that, we will be back on Saturday with, hopefully, I keep saying every week, the finale, the final episode of Expedition to Ubin Falls. And every time we get there, it's not the ending. It seems to be going on forever. So yeah, we'll be back on Saturday at 7 o'clock BST time to play Mithras, a fantasy role-playing game. Slightly different from Dungeons and Dragons, but just as good. So if you would like to say something completely different, then please do come along and have a look at us play. I'll also be back on Saturday and Sunday playing my normal ESO, trying desperately to level my Argonian Templar, who's a tank, and try to get that done and dusted. Until then, I would like to just say to each and every one of you, be who you are and say what you think. Because the people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. Have fun, and I will catch you all later. And until then, thanks for coming out, and consider yourself well and truly waffled. Have fun, guys. Bye.